what you desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome everybody to HTL iRacing League tonight, presented by Elite Performance Industries. This is the EPI 200. I am joined in the booth tonight by Steven Synapses. Steven, you got a copy?
I do, Curtis. Another week, another race.
Yeah, but we are at Rockingham tonight, the Rock. These guys are going to be flying around this track, 1 mile track. Got some little bit of banking to this, so it's not just a flat, Martinsville kind of Richmond style. It is a little bit, but it's got a little more banking in the corners. These next gen cars are going to be flying around this track. Hearing a lot of guys saying that it's a little slick in those first, 5 to 10 laps. Then those tires really settle in, and guys are able to, put the grip and put the tires to use and try to make up positions. But hopefully these guys take it easy in those first 5 to 10 laps, and we don't have, guys being a little too aggressive, things like that, and causing some issues. Last week, I think the admins and owner here gave a little bit of a warning to everybody, letting them know, hey, practice, get used to the tires, get used to the car, get used to the track. The way that the tires work with these next-gen cars, things like that, the balance of the car, how to correct the car when it starts getting a little loose. All of those things were pushed towards the drivers this week, so hopefully we have a very good show tonight. And like I said, it is presented by Elite Performance Industries. And, Steven, I think this is going to be a fun race. They've got a little over 20 drivers on track tonight. This should be very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be a good race. I mean, something that I was just informed that we're going to have to watch out for during this race is pit road. I guess during the practice race last night, they definitely had a couple speeding penalties because pit road is so bumpy and everything. So going on the pit road and going into it, these guys are really going to have to check up and watch their speed, watch the gauges and everything, and make sure they're definitely not speeding, getting those penalties, because that could cost them in this race.
Yeah, we need to look at a couple different drivers this week too. We got a top 5 to watch, and I'm going to pull it up on screen. It is Chris Pendell as the number 1, Hunter Whitlock as number 2, Alistair Kirk as number 3, who I've been told is actually racing tonight, dealing with COVID. So he's actually going to put his I guess mask on and try to race around this track, and he's dealing with some symptoms and things like that, but still going to give it a go tonight. Was very fast last week at Michigan. He was actually your pick towards the end of the race there, but got taken out in a late caution there. The 5th spot is actually to the team of 1776 Motorsports. They've won the first 2 races of the season so far, being split by 2 different drivers on that team. So that team is very, very very watched right now, as everybody's kind of watching to see what they're doing, how they're doing it. They've all been, 2 or 3 of them have been finishing up in the top 10 every single week. So they're, definitely the team to watch tonight, and we'll see, who can overcome those different things that have happened on track with incidents and things like that. I know, talking about Chris Pendell, Chris might have won last week at Michigan if he didn't lag out of the race. Lagged out with only a few laps to go, so he was one of those drivers we saw get loose, have a huge correction, able to save that car, make up some ground, and then was able to get back to the front. He's won 2 league races in the last week, and this supposedly is his favorite track. It has been spread out through the garage that Pendell is on a mission today at Rockingham, so he's definitely the number 1 driver to watch tonight. Then that Hunter Whitlock guy in the 35, that 35 car shined in practice race. Apparently earlier in the week, he ran the fastest lap out of anybody that was in the practice with a blistering 23.668. He's also had some bad luck to start this season with 2 straight DNFs for NFG Motorsports. It seems like he does have some high confidence going into the Rock, though. He's had a fast car last season in the Gen 6 cars here, but made some mistakes late. So hoping to recover from those mistakes last season and go into this with some positivity after that late practice this past week.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here at the practice standings right now, and exactly like you were saying earlier, Christopher Pandel, he's right at the top of the board with Hunter Whitlock. He's not that far behind him. He's starting 3rd. The top 3 or 4 guys, they're all within like a tenth of a second of each other. So, I mean, you got 4, 5, 6 guys up there that are right up there in time. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be just like last week, like I said, full of battles. I mean, whether it's up front or towards the end, I mean, you look through the field and they're all separated by at least half a second, so they're not that far off of each other.
Yeah, definitely going to be some close battling on the Rock tonight. Like I said, 3rd on this top 5 drivers to watch is Alistair Kirk in that 51. Has what it takes to win. Like I said, he was very fast last week. He was your pick late in the race to win the race and wound up getting taken out in a late race caution. But he was the highest finisher last season out of all the returning drivers to this track, despite never running the track before. So out of the actual points, he's the highest returning driver. With a full race under his belt now and having a good bit of momentum after placing 4th out of 53 in the 24-hour race at, I don't even know how to say this, Nürburgring, I guess would be the way to say that.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, he participated in that road course race on iRacing and wound up placing 4th out of 53 teams. So very, very good night for him, looking to bring that momentum over here. That 4th place driver that I was talking about for the top 5, that's Blake Henderson. That is the owner of HTL iRacing League. He has been very, very hot to start this season, and that's not even an understatement. He has finished the last 2 races in the top 3 in both races. Last season with a 2nd and 3rd place finishes. This season, although he struggled here last season, finishing 8 laps down, he did win the practice race earlier in this week, leading almost half the race. So looking to come into this race and bring that momentum as well. He did have the second fastest lap during that practice race, and he is the leader in points also. When we get to the points here in a second, that's what I'll bring up now. So as we take a look, Blake Henderson leading the field tonight with the point standings with 117 at number 1. Those finishes he's had at second and third have just propelled him to the front. He's also had very good stage finishes too. So collecting as many points as possible. Mark Perkers moves up into second place with 107 points, 10 points back from Blake Henderson. Dylan McDonald, last week's winner in that 1776 Motorsports team, finishing third, 105 points, only 2 points back from second, only 12 points back from first. Dean Clavitt, our first winner at Daytona this season, another member of 1776 Motorsports, sitting fourth in the points. Wes Fuller in the 5 car that we saw lead a lot of laps at Daytona and wound up getting taken out, finishes with 96 points so far in the top 5 in the standings. Corey Andon sitting 93 points in 6th. He finished, I believe, second at Daytona. 7th in points is Matthew Stephen. 8th is Alfred Denny. 9th is Guy Clem in that 37. And then 10th is that 51 car we were talking about earlier, Alistair Kirk. He's also tied with 2 other drivers, with Angel Santiago with 90 points, Matt Smith with 90 points as well. All 3 with 80 points, sorry. Corey Kobe in that 10 machine sitting 13th with 79 points. Nathan Estep sitting 14th with 77. Also tied with Shad Swatsworth, which Blake put out in the Discord that he was the biggest jumper in the point standings after last week's race. However, he will not be receiving any points tonight as he has to miss this race due to work. So 16th is right now Matt Boone in that 83 machine. We've seen him very strong at the front of these races, but winds up getting caught up in other people's mistakes and accidents, and he hasn't really had any good finishes, which is unfortunate for him. But I mean, like I said, it's not been his own doing. So, Marcus Chafin also sitting there in 18th. John Kukun's sitting 19th. Greg Wood also tied for 19th. This field is stacked, Steven. I don't know where these points are going to wind up, but I mean, these points are definitely climbing up, and these guys are having to stick with each other. And Blake he's pointing them to death here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the points right now, and with all these guys just being shuffled up in the field and everything, and there's so many good drivers, I think after tonight, we're only in the 3rd race of the season, but I think tonight you might see quite a bit of shaking up in the point standings. You might see a new point leader. I mean, it all depends. I mean, we could see somebody else win tonight that's not from 1776 Motorsports. We could have it's all these drivers are just good. I mean, I think it's going to be a big point night for some of these guys, especially like Hunter Whitlock, like we were talking about. He's sitting right now at 27th in points. And the way he's looking right now in practice, he could have a good race as long as he doesn't get into any trouble or anything. I think if he can stay up on the field, he can make a good points night and gain a lot of positions.
Same for Chris Pendell, sitting back there in 23rd in points. Both of those guys very fast tonight, sitting P1 and P3 in practice. Corey Andon sitting P2, and he sits right now up in the top 6 in points. So definitely a lot of drivers that can make up some ground. They're also doing the April Absurdity this month. We're moving into round 2 of April Absurdity, so only 16 drivers left. You got the 5 matching up against the 53, 37 matching up against the 56, Dean Clavitt, 94 matching up against the 90, 22 matching up against the 78, the 25 and 35, that's Blake Henderson and last week's winner, Dylan McDonald. That's going to be a huge fight tonight. Those two both have been very fast. Blake Henderson, obviously, like I said, finishing in the top 3 both races to start this season. Dylan McDonald's going to have his work cut out for him, although he did win last week. He didn't have a good showing at Daytona, but it's Daytona. It's a super track or super speedway. It's kind of hard to really claim that one as a real race. Obviously everybody always says the season starts after Daytona, but Dylan and Blake going at it tonight. The 21 machine and the 8 of Marcus Chafin going at it as well. The 31 was moved up to the position for what's that? The bottom east side against the 55, and then the 83 of Matt Boone is going to be battling with a 98 tonight. We did hear earlier in the week that the 88, because of Shad having to miss this race, he was nice enough to report that he wasn't going to be here tonight and requested that the 37 of Guy Clem be moved forward to the Rockingham battle within this April absurdity so that it was fair to Guy, since Shad knew he was going to be missing this week. Figured he'd give Guy a chance to be able to move on. He's going to have his work cut out for him going against Dean Clavitt, our Daytona winner in the first race this season. So a lot of things in play tonight. Points, stage points, April absurdity. There's a lot of things going on tonight, Steven, and these guys are going to have to worry about all of it, plus be able to drive with 24 of the drivers on track and try to make it to the end of this race. Tonight's race details is EPI 200 at Rockingham Speedway, or otherwise turned into North Carolina Speedway after, I believe, 2013. It is a 1.017 mile track. Might as well just call it a 1 mile D-shaped oval. Things to watch tonight, like we said, Alistair Kirk, highest returning finisher, second last season. Blake Henderson won the practice race this week. Fastest race or practice race lap was by Hunter Whitlock, also looking for a big night for points. 1776 has won both first two races this season between two different drivers. So it's going to be a big night. Temps 80 degrees tonight, 26 humidity, 12-mile-an-hour wind out of the northeast. They will have stage breaks tonight at lap 25 and lap 75, unless there's a caution right around those same laps. But, Steven, there's a lot of different things going on tonight. It's going to be crazy at the Rock. I really love that they're bringing North Wilkesboro back and possibly bringing the Rock back as well for future races here in the real life in NASCAR. So hopefully if they get that track rebuilt and they can rescan it at some point, put it into iRacing, we'll be able to race just like the real life drivers do on the track.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I've been watching all of those rebuilds, and I'm really hoping that they get back North Wilkesboro and The Rock, obviously. I mean, for them being away for so long, I mean, even having them, I know like it's not been that long for Nashville, but it was like what, 10 plus years or whatever. It was still a while, and they came back, and I would really love to watch them do the same thing with North Wilkesboro and that. I think you could see some real good races, obviously bringing back memories and everything. But yeah, I mean, I took some practice laps around here earlier, and it's definitely one tough track. Yeah, these drivers definitely have their work cut out for them tonight. But going into the corners, turn two, coming out of turn two, it's real tight. So if we're gonna see any accidents, I think it's gonna be coming out of turn two, because as soon as you exit that, it's just like the track just tightens right up, and you you ain't gonna see many battling, I don't think, coming out of there.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too much battling out of those corners. It's extremely tight at this track. You know, as it comes out of that corner, it really shrinks, and guys are going to have to either stay out of the wall or stay off of each other. You almost don't want to be more than one car wide coming out of that corner in case your car does slide to that outside wall being tight. So guys are going to have to watch who's underneath them going through those turns and make sure that they're comfortable with somebody underneath them, because any kind of move there is going to probably project a incident. But it's gonna be rough. Rockingham is a track known to shred the tires, so these guys are gonna have to try to, like we said, 5 to 10 laps before the tires really come in. But then what's left on those tires after they do come in? How much of a run do they have on those newer tires once they get worked in? Do they last 10 laps of good running, or is it 5 laps, or is it 20 laps? That kind of stuff is just really what they're going to have to watch for.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the first stage is so short, it's 25 laps. Uh, I'm just assume we go green, we'll definitely be able to see exactly how long these guys get out of their tires. If they can make them last that whole first stage, or if they fall off like halfway through or three-quarters away. It's definitely we're gonna learn a lot tonight within these first two stages, and you know, at the end of stage two, it's gonna be a long race. They're gonna have a 125 lap finish to do. So it's not gonna like be those first two stages. You only run in 25, 50 laps. I mean, so it's you're gonna run in double, triple of what those two stages are. So
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting tonight. I can't wait for it to get started here. Should only be a few more minutes left before they start up qualifying, and then I think we got about 8 minutes left of qualifying. Sorry, they just kicked off qualifying, and as of right now, Corey Andon sitting on the pole, Hunter Whitlock sitting second, Tyler Woodard sitting third, Matt Smith sitting fourth, David Anderson sitting fifth as qualifying is going. But there's a lot of other drivers that have not run that second lap or have not even run their first lap yet. So this qualifying order is going to be shaken up a little bit here. But, Steven, let's go ahead and run the national anthem. Give that big salute to the red, white, and blue, all the men and women out there that are in the military, first responders, anybody who, runs towards danger and does what they can for this country. So let's give a big salute to them, and we'll be right back, and we'll jump into qualifying a little closer to the end of qualifying to see who's starting where at the end of this qualifying. All right. All right, Stephen, we are back right now looking at qualifying going on. A few different drivers finishing up their qualifying runs. A lot of guys still out there trying to get those laps started up. Um, we'll be able to see who's going to finish up here shortly. It's only a few more minutes left of qualifying, so this is going to be interesting to see who comes up and who starts in the back.
yeah, I mean, the drivers that have gone, I mean, there really hasn't been much shakeup in the field. I mean, granted, there's still half a dozen drivers to go, but from what we've seen from these guys, it's really hasn't been too much shakeup from when before we went to the national anthem at all.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I don't know if they're just not going to qualify, if they want to start in the back or what. Like we haven't seen Corey Kobe run, we haven't seen Chris Pendell, who we're expecting big things out of tonight. Matt Boone hasn't run out there. Dean Clavitt, Alfred Denny, Wes Fuller, Dylan McDonald, last week's winner. They all haven't come out yet, so I'm gonna guess they're gonna wait till the last minute and then come out and run some laps here. Maybe hoping that the temperature comes up in the track or something. So we'll see what happens here, but I don't think they're gonna wait too much longer. They got about 4.5 minutes left of qualifying to get those laps in, and like we said, those lap times are very quick. Only 24 seconds, or just over 24 seconds as of right now, is the fastest lap for qualifying. So usually right there with about a minute left, minute and a half left, you could still come out and still make your qualifying heat.
Yeah, definitely. And oh boy, I don't know. I really don't. I'm just excited for tonight. I think it's gonna be a lot of good racing. I'm excited to see what drivers really stand out tonight. If somebody's really gonna maybe not have had a good start of the season in the first two races, if they're really gonna show up tonight and really show the field what they have.
Trying to see if I can pull it up, but I don't think I can pull it up for top qualifier versus the person I'm watching, we're watching the 21 of Alfred Denny put down his second lap right now. He's definitely got it wound up.
And we just
Moves
got
up
a
to eighth.
new top guy, Greg Wood, with a 24,104. He's currently at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, that is one of the drivers that we were talking about earlier during the April absurdity. The Donaldson of 22, or the 22 of Donaldson, and the 78 of Greg Wood. Wood likes to run a little more aggressive and up front the whole race as much as he can. Donaldson likes to kind of run a quiet race. Doesn't really flash a whole lot during the race, but then towards the end, he's right there in the top 10 every week so far. So it'll be awesome to see the different strategies between those two drivers on who can actually move on in this April absurdity.
Yeah, and it looks like Christopher Pendel is just going out for his qualifying laps right now, so I'm gonna watch him and see what he can do. He's been fast all throughout practice in that practice race yesterday, so I think you're gonna see him jump pretty close to the top of the board here.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, with him waiting a little longer, Dylan McDonald waiting a little longer, Matt Boone waiting a little longer. If they just wanted to wait a little bit longer in the session, maybe for the track temp or the heat in the track to come up, that kind of stuff. Some guys wait until that last minute to get that temperature built up in the track a little bit more with the time that the race or the qualifying is actually being set at. So I think the time on track is actually 3:20 right now. So a little later in the day could bring a little more heat into the track. That's probably what they're counting on. So they're waiting a little longer to go out, and they're laying down those laps now. Matt Boone just jumped to third with his qualifying lap. So that's what I was talking about with these guys. Waiting a little bit longer for the heat to come into the track, able to go out there and run a lap. Dylan McDonald having a couple different issues there. Only going to get 19th for qualifying. Chris Pendel on that first lap puts up into 7th. So we'll see if he can move further up to close. Matt Boone just laid down his second lap and moves to the pole.
Looks like Christopher Pendel's only gonna run one qualifying lap actually. So it looks like 7th is where he's gonna be sitting as of right now.
Yeah, it might be that he just wants to lay down that lap and just get in that top 10 and be able to work his way through. But Matt Boone said, nope, I'm going to the front. I'm hoping to stay up front. I believe he was a pole sitter here last week. So we'll see what happens here. I think Matt, he's one of the better drivers figuring out the skills that he needs on certain tracks. I feel like you could throw Matt on any track, and he'll figure it out real quick. So seeing that 83 up front, that Dr. Pepper machine, is going to be pretty interesting to see if he can hold that lead against some of these really fast guys that are sitting back here in the middle of the field that did not have good qualifying laps.
Yeah, I mean every week. I mean I'll root for Matt Boone any day of the week just because I know exactly how fast he is, but he was my pick last week and it did not
Yeah,
work out
don't
too
jinx him this
well.
week.
Yeah, so uh, if I'm gonna pick somebody, I'm gonna keep it to myself. I'm not even gonna say it on the stream because
Yeah,
I
that's
do
what I
not want to
did.
ruin anybody's race.
And my guy that I picked actually won the race, so
Yeah,
I left it out and did not put it out there. So
I think that's exactly what I'm doing this week, and we're gonna see how it goes.
well, qualifying has wrapped up. These guys are getting gridded right now on track. Like we said, Matt Boone is going to be the pole sitter tonight. We'll go through the field in just a short minute here. I'm going to run a quick commercial break. Like I said, tonight's race is brought to you by Elite Performance Industries. So give me just a second. We'll do a side-by-side with these guys lining up for grid, and we'll be right back. All right, Stephen, we are back on track after that commercial there for EPI. This is the EPI 200 brought to you by Elite Performance Industries. Matt Boone sitting on the front row with that P1 spot getting the pole. Greg Wood Jr. sitting second in that 78 machine. Third is going to go to Corey Andon, second place finisher at Daytona, first race of the season. Gary Donaldson in that 22 that we just talked about, battling with that 78 tonight, is going to be starting P4. So it looks like his strategy of staying out back and staying quiet most of the race is not what he's planning on doing tonight. I'm sure our buddy out there, Josh Arnold, if he watches tonight, he will see that 22 up front and will be rooting for him. So P5 is going to be second place in points, Mark Parkhurst in that 32 Chevy. The sixth place is going to go to Bryce Boyer in that number 1 Chevy. Sixth place is Christopher Pendell, the number 1 car to watch tonight out of the top 5 drivers to watch. Eighth place is going to go to Hunter Whitlock in that 35 Toyota. Only a few Toyotas in the field tonight. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Toyotas in the field. 4 Toyotas in the field, sorry. Moving back to ninth is going to be Tyler Woodard in that 77 Ford. Alfred Denny is going to be sitting there in 10th. Take the rest of the field.
All right, 11th, we got the 29 of Matthew Smith. Coming in 12th, we got Blake Henderson in the 25. And 13th, we got Marcus Chaffin in the 8. Starting 14th, we got Alistair Kirk. Definitely one to watch tonight as he is the runner-up, the closest runner-up from the last race. Starting 14th. Starting 15th is David Anderson in the 23. Starting 16th, we got Guy Clement in the 37th and the 37 car. Starting 17th, we got Kevin Gibney Jr. Starting 18th, we got Nathan Epstein in the 55. Starting 19th, we got Dylan McDonald in the 38 car. Starting 20th, we got Ryan Moutry, I believe that's how you pronounce that, in the 44.
Steven,
Starting
we're coming out of turn 4 here. These pace cars dropping off, so we're going to have to go right to the front here and get the action going at the Rock. That 83 Dr. Pepper machine of Matt Boone is going to get on the pedal and start going down the front stretch. This D-shaped 1 mile track. He's into turn 1 already, off the gas and letting it roll through the corners. 94 of Corey Andon right on his back bumper. The 78 of Greg Wood up on the outside. They did say it's going to be hard to pass tonight, so watch for different ways to be able to drive this track. But as far as I know, these guys are going to want to try to stay on that bottom to middle line. But you see Greg Wood kind of running that high Kyle Larson line around here. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. It seems to be working for him, though. He's sticking. Oh, never mind. He hits the wall.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a couple 3 wide battles here. I just saw Alistair Kirk go right through the middle. And we see some guys coming to the wall here. Obviously, the tires are still warming up and everything. Just got to give them a couple laps. We'll be good.
The drivers were saying that it takes 5 to 10 laps for these tires to come in. So Boone being the leader like this, he can really take advantage of that and kind of just ease his way into it and let his tires warm up and then be able to stretch away from everybody. And in running that high line, he's not putting as much wheel into his tires and really, not hurting them as bad, but he's carrying the momentum off the corner, but he's also losing a little bit of time due to Matt Boone running the shortest way around the track right on that yellow line going around the corners.
Yeah, I'm looking at a pretty good pack here. It looks like between 5th and 10th, maybe 11th is looking like. They got a pretty good field. I just heard that we got a
38 wrecking off the back.
Know.
There's actually a bunch of guys that were having some issues back here. I seen Ryan Moutre crashed. I seen Angel Santiago went off track. Ryan Moutre went off track. Dylan
Marcus
McDonald.
Chapin.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different drivers putting up a couple different things back here. So we'll go take a look at a few different incidents here and take a little glance at these and see what happens here. This is the Ryan Moutre first incident. So let me take a look back here at Ryan in the 44. And we'll go from here. So he's off track in the front row or front. Well, I don't know what he was doing there. That that kind of threw me off on that one. On the front stretch, just clips the grass a little bit and then turns it up track right in front of some drivers. So not sure what that was, but I'm sure that's going to be a question later on. But yeah, let's go take a look at Dylan McDonald as well in this. Looked like he was after the fact.
Yeah, I'm looking at Marcus Chafin right now, and it looked like coming off of turn two, he'd either gotten tired or
Oh,
what, but he got into the wall and ended up just losing it, going into a couple other guys.
so this is Marcus Chafin's view. Coming off the corner, he's up in the wall already, coming out of turn two. Scrubs it on the wall all the way down the backstretch, gets turned back into the wall, clips the wall, comes off the wall, hits Dylan McDonald, and also gets another car involved in there. Not a very good straightaway from Marcus. He kind of got sucked into the wall and got stuck on it. And then as he was trying to come off, he clipped another car, which then shot him back into the wall, got him stuck on there, and then it kicked him off the wall right in front of Dylan and another driver there, and both of them had nowhere to go. So we'll see what these guys can do with this. I'm sure Marcus is probably going to wind up having to use his fast repair on that one. That seemed like a good bit amount of damage there with clipping the wall first and dragging down the backstretch on the wall, and then bouncing it off the wall into a driver, and then going back to the wall and then bouncing off the wall again, and went into two more drivers. So definitely going to be a few guys looking for fast repairs.
Yeah, and it's definitely not good to use that, especially this early on in the race. We're only 8 laps, so it definitely sucks to be those guys. Still got a long ways to go in this race.
Yeah, I mean, we're 8 laps in. This is about the point that they said that the tires did come in. So um, a lot of guys stayed out, which, I mean, strategically, I wouldn't have came in either. Unless I was in the far back, and even if I was not involved in this incident, I might have came down and just took fuel. I probably wouldn't have worried about tires taking it this early, but I definitely would have came down and topped off if I was in the back. I mean, you're not going to lose any positions if you're already in the back, so you might as well come down and just fill it up and see if you can stretch a couple more laps, because they did run 8, so they're probably going to go back green here with about 10 laps to go, or 10 laps into this, and you got to think we only got 15 to go before the first stage break. So if these guys are able to run 40, 45 laps on a fuel run, I mean, they're close to making it to the end of the second stage. If they filled up now and are conserving fuel, they could possibly make that second stage run.
Yeah, they could. The question is, would you want to stay out, not knowing exactly when the tires are gonna fall off, and would you want to take that chance? Say some of the guys in the front go in, take 4 new tires and everything, and they just blister through the field. I mean, that's a chance that you gotta take, but I
I
guess
mean,
we'll
it just depends though, because we've heard guys say each week that, you know, position has been key. So by staying out at the end of the stage break, you know, you're going to move to the front. Your tires are going to be a little bit older, but you know, you're not going to be maybe in the hornet's nest back there in the middle or the back of the pack where, you know, incidents usually come up. But I don't know what to do here. I see the lights are off on the pace car outside pulling a driver here, but pace car should be coming off and we'll be going back green.
yeah, it looks like Boone elected the outside this time. It looks like he spun the tires coming to the green. So that's gonna give I have no idea who's next to him. What? It's gonna give him an advantage going into turn one.
Yeah, Andon shot out of there like a cannon through turn 1 and 2, and Boone fell off to about third position on those same set of tires as everybody else, but Boone was the only one that was really wrapping that bottom right on that yellow line. Everybody else seemed to be up in the middle or at the top lane there, but I don't know if this was just strategic for Boone to start on the outside and maybe try to get that launch and then, you know, spun the tires a little bit, but
Oh, another
I
wreck.
think he'll be
Another
coming
wreck.
back through the field.
Got the 22 involved. 77 Tyler Woodard. It looks like he got loose coming off the corner and just collected 22.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good sign for the 22 that is battling that 78 for this month's April Absurdity race, or for this week's April Absurdity race. We'll go back and take a look here. I think you said it was Woodard that got loose, so let me look at that.
Yeah, it looks like he got into the wall in the middle of turn one and two. and then he just bounced off of it again out off the exit of two.
Yeah, that was definitely Woodard going up into the wall, scraped it, tried to come off the wall. And when he did, he got loose and collected into the 22. But there was a couple cars right behind that also were involved in this. And I believe the 78 of Greg Wood was involved in this with a car that was directly behind the 22 there and the 22. Yeah, sorry, 22 and 77 to Tyler Woodard that was involved in that. And there's a car on the outside of Wood as they go through here that kind of skips and comes back into Wood. Yeah, there it is. So, yeah, 78's got some front end damage. 22 is going to have a bunch of damage on the side of his car. 77 has a whole bunch of damage on the rear end and in the door. We can see that damage of that 78 on the front. It's pretty impacted there. No hood on it. It's not going to be a good result for him. At this point, I think he's going to have to use a fast repair to even really compete. It is a 1 mile track. You know, draft really isn't that big of a deal. It's kind of like Martinsville, Richmond. You know, if you're missing a fender, it's not that big a deal. It's not Daytona. Even though nowadays Daytona, you could be missing a fender and still finish good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to make it around. I think he would probably be worried about maybe overheating with as much damage as to that front end with no hood on it either.
Yeah, it looks like the 22 of Gary Donaldson. He doesn't look like he has a front bumper, so he's definitely got a bunch of damage to the rear also. So it'll he was in pit road for a little bit of time. I don't know if he was taking some optional or whatever, but with that rear damage, be interested to see if that will tighten the car up, loosen the car up. Might not do anything.
Yeah, I just
Guess
realized who that car was that was behind Donaldson and the 77 of Tyler Woodall that was right in front of that 78, and that is our owner, admin, Blake Henderson, that's first in points in the point standing. Also battling it out with Dylan McDonald tonight for the April Absurdity that was involved in that, and he's got some damage to that front end, hood, and back side of his car. Not a good start to this race for a lot of guys.
Looks like we're gonna be going green with, oh God, probably less than 10 to go in the stage, I would assume. Looks like we're going double file now, so
Yeah,
probably 10
it's gonna be
laps to
about
go,
10
I
to
would
9.
assume.
Let's run a commercial break real quick. We'll be right back as these guys are coming around to 1 to green here, coming off turn 2. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back before they go green. All right, and as the pace car drops down to pit road, we're going to go green again in that 35 on the out or the inside. 94 of Corey Andon selected the outside, which is what Matt Boone did last time. Didn't result very good for Matt Boone last time. This time, Matt Boone's on the inside in that second row. Top 3 are able to pull away a little bit from the rest of the field there.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching like the middle of the field right now, just kind of watching, see if there's anything gonna happen, but they're all looking pretty good right now coming off this opening lap of the restart.
Yeah, Andon's laying down some good laps. Right now, Matt Boone has the fastest lap of the race with a 23.981. Rest of the, I'm not seeing anybody else in the 23s. So he's the only driver under 24. The rest of the field is running about 24 ones or higher. That lap there, Corey Andon was the fastest on track for this specific run of a 24.010. So closing in a little bit on Matt Boone's fastest lap of the race. But Matt Boone also ran a 24.0400 there. So that's going to be very, very close in those times. Matt Boone coming from third, that 35 of Hunter Whitlock that we talked about earlier in the race as one of the drivers to watch tonight, sitting there in second. Corey Andon out front right now, trying to make it to the stage break at lap 25 to get those most points he possibly can in stage one.
Yeah, that clean air right out front, it definitely does a lot for a lot of people. If you can get out front, get into that clean air, you can definitely just run your race, run some clean laps, and I think that's definitely where you saw Matt Boone go and get that fast lap. But like you said earlier, before the race even started, he's fast wherever you put him. If you put him on a track, doesn't matter what car you put him in, he's gonna be fast. So he's definitely a top contender no matter where you are.
Yeah, Andon, I mean, he's sitting sixth in points right now for the point standings. Finished second at Daytona. Didn't have a very good finishing last week due to a lot of incidents happening and getting caught up in them, but had a very good showing at Daytona. Scored a lot of points during the stage breaks and finished second in the race. And now out front tonight, leading a lot of laps, trying to get those most laps led points. Already getting a point for leading a lap, and then also looking for those stage break points as well. He's up 2 positions from his starting position in third, up 6 positions as Hunter Whitlock sitting there second. We have 2 Toyotas out front, Steven.
Yeah, and we only have like 4 or 5 Toyotas in the field, so and we are gonna have a caution. Looks like the 55, I believe. I was
I
just
think there's a
watching
few in
him.
that one.
Looks like he got his right sides up against the wall, and then after that, it was just he just turned right into the field.
So you see him come off the corner, and this is what I was talking about, getting tight and sliding up to that wall as the turns are much wider than the straightaways, and it really narrows as you come out of the corner, and guys are really not staying a little bit lower, and they're fading up into that wall, and that's where you see a lot of guys riding the wall as they come out of the corner, and it's causing some issues. Yeah, there was definitely another car there involved that ran into the 55, and I believe was smoking coming around for the pace laps before they started pitting. But a lot of the field is pitting, so I'm going to guess that they're going to use this as that first stage break.
Yeah, this will definitely be the end of stage one, and I am seeing a couple people stay out like we were talking about earlier. So I don't know if those are guys that may have came in under those first couple cautions, came down, got some fuel, gonna see if they can make it all the way to the end of stage two. I guess we'll see how it plays out, seeing almost the rest of the field came into pit for this caution.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys on different strategies here. Christopher Prendell is on a 18 lap run right now, so he pitted early in the first caution. He was in there for 21.1 seconds, so I'm going to assume he probably took fuel and tires while he was in there. That's why he's staying out to try to conserve an extra set of tires. He does have some damage to his car, so he probably fixed a little bit of damage there as well. And then there's a few other drivers there that also pitted on lap 13. But pretty much from sixth on back did just pit. Alistair Kirk now moves up into the sixth position. He's going to be the first car that just pitted, but he did not take tires. He took fuel only. So I don't know if he stopped earlier on and took tires, but he did not take tires that stop.
Yeah, we're gonna see a bunch of different strategies here tonight. I mean, I don't remember seeing Alistair Kirk come down pit road at all. Because I think he was mainly running towards the top. He was running like top 10 or whatever. So I don't really think I ever saw him come down pit road to grab any tires or anything. But I
Let's try to
could be
grab it real
wrong.
quick. Alistair, you got a copy of this of Swats and Steven in the booth, buddy.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Hey, Alistair. Sorry to hear about you dealing with some COVID issues, but you're out here on track tonight, and you are sitting in the top 10, sitting P6 right there. You just pitted, and I obviously noticed that you were in the pit stall only for a little bit of time. Did you happen to pit earlier in the race during one of these cautions and grab tires, or are you just not looking to grab tires at all?
No, we didn't pit at all. We didn't grab tyres. Just fuel. I mean, my tyres are in the high 90s, so it's barely any use at the minute. So just can plod on, see what we can do, and yeah, think about the last kind of 25, 50 laps. So.
Gotcha. So staying out on old tires, but moved up through the field. So good luck on the rest of the race, and maybe we'll catch you throughout the race or at the end of the night in the podium spot. But good luck, bud.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right, so you hear it there, Alistair Kirk taking what I would consider probably a big risk, Steven, not coming down for tires at all through that first stage. So he's going to be sitting on old tires there in 6th position, but he does have a full tank of fuel. We're going to go back green here with Christopher Pendell leading the field. But, I mean, Steven, what would you think about that? I mean, he just said he did not take tires. He didn't pit earlier on the stage. He just pitted right there and took fuel only.
Oh, man. We got a caution. And it involves Alistair Kirk, too.
Oh. So maybe that was the tires.
No, I actually, let me see if I can go back to him. I think somebody did exactly like that last caution. Somebody got up into the wall and actually just went right down into him, and he had nowhere to go.
So see John Gutkun's on there. Hunter Whitlock is on there as well. We'll go back and take a look here. Matt Steven passed Hunter Whitlock. Let's take a look. So that's a 53 and the 51. So let's go back and take a look at that. It looks like Alistair was actually involved in it to begin with.
Yeah,
it looks like he was pushed up into the wall.
He had a good run coming on the outside. He had a lot of momentum. And, yeah, it looks like he may have just clipped the 53 and turned him into the wall.
I'm trying to find him here. Alistair, there he is. All right. So Alistair's coming up behind the 53, which is going to be John Gutenkunst there. So yeah, we'll take a look here. As he's there, I mean, he's got a nose in on the outside of the 53 there as they're going along the wall, and the 53 just closes the door on him on the backstretch, and 51 has nowhere to go there. He had probably the front bumper almost to the front tires next to the 53 there, and 53 just closed the door on him.
Yeah, he definitely had the car right next to him, and so it was just a racing mistake. I mean, I don't know if the 53 just didn't see him or what, but yeah, that's a tough mistake.
Well, let's go down and grab that 83 machine of Matt Boone and see if we can get him to come up here and let us know what he's seeing on track. Mr. Boone, you got a copy of this? Swats and Steven in the booth.
I got you.
All right, Matt, you're sitting here up front right now, qualified P1. What are you feeling on track? Are you feeling the tires like everybody's talking about, where it being kind of slick to begin with, and then they come in a little bit later? What's going on track, bud?
No, there's nothing wrong with this track. That's just you need to be a little bit more patient.
Gotcha. So patience is key. Not a lot of drivers have patience, but I do know you do. So you obviously qualified P1. We saw you on that first restart there where you elected to take the outside, and Corey Andon and them kind of blew you away on the first corner there where you kind of laid back. Did you mean to do that, or just the high line just allowed you to kind of lay back into the third spot and wait to catch back up to him?
No, I meant to start out there, but I restarted in first gear on accident, so I spun the tires and about put it in the wall. So
Gotcha.
I regrouped it, and well, I mean, we're gonna give it a shot here.
Well, you did collect it and got it back going, and we're making a move for second whenever that next caution did come out there. So we'll keep watching that Dr. Pepper machine and your whole team there coming up through the field. trying to find the rest. It looks like Corey's back in 9th right now. You guys just trying to work together, move through the field, or are you waiting for one of them to come up there and help you, or you just kind of all out doing your own thing, own strategy?
It's more every man for himself right now, but it's more of let's avoid the cautions, avoid the wrecks like that one there. I barely avoided that. I thought I was going to get rear-ended, but I made it through, and we'll just keep trying to avoid the cautions.
Well, that Lucky's rabbit foot should be permanently taped to the back bumper of your car. You might want to put a paint scheme together with that Lucky rabbit foot on the back of it, bud. But I'll send you back down to Corey Boone Racing, and you guys have a good rest of the race, and hopefully we'll catch you at the end of the race in the podium spots.
Yeah.
All right, bud. All right, so he barely avoided that one. Like he said, the tires really haven't been an issue, which is weird because almost every driver I talked to earlier that was in the practice session kept complaining about tires. But I guess, how you drive the car. And like you said, Steven, Matt, you can pretty much put him on any track, and he's going to figure it out. So
Yeah, and on this restart, that inside line checked up big time, and I think it's Witchlock who is the leader right now. Or Pendel actually. He just was absolutely able to take off on the field going through turn 2 and everything.
yeah, it did look like the outside was the starting car, and he just dusted everybody on the restart, and the inside line did not go. I'm wondering if that's because of the older tires that Gibney had on this restart and might have spun the tires a little bit or eased into it in a higher gear, which didn't allow that bottom line to get going.
Yeah, I mean, many different things, I guess, but right now I'm watching Boone. He's working his way up the field. I mean, like he said, obviously there's a bunch of different drivers, a bunch of different driving styles. He's obviously not having issues with the tires. I guess it all just depends on how hard you drive it, how conservative you are. Looks like Pendel has pulled out to a pretty sizable lead. It looks like it's about 3.3 seconds right now. He's just in a mind of his own as of right now.
Yeah, I'm looking through the field. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of different drivers having issues that were up front to begin with, or they just were the ones that pitted at that end of that stage break, and some of these guys who pitted earlier on moved up through the field. But like I said, Matt Stevens up 18, Angel Santiago up 18, Kevin Givney up 15. Looks like we're getting another caution on track, Steven.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now, actually. Looks like the 94 might have been involved. 23 possibly. Take a quick look here. Yeah, I think he was actually just a 94.
All right, so after I flip through a couple different spots here, I find the 94, and it looks like he was turned.
Yeah, it looks like he got into the back of the 98, I think it is, or 86, and then it just caused a train effect, and he just got turned.
He gets in the back of the 98 because the 98 really woed up in that corner. It looked like maybe he was headed towards the wall and just let off the gas, and a 94 wasn't expecting it. As you're building speed through that corner, you're wanting to exit that corner with as much speed as you can, and he just ran right into the back of the 98. Didn't really have a choice there as he wasn't expecting it, and I think that collected the 38 of Dylan McDonald as well. SS Motorsports out there in chat says to go back and watch Boone with another magic save. So we'll see if we can find that.
Let's take a look. going on Boone right now.
Looks like he's 3 wide up here with Greg. Kind of bounces it off of Greg a little bit. Greg comes up. Boone goes into the corner there. They're already wrecking out back. All right, he's saying Boone almost got turned, and that's what caused the stack up. So we'll go all the way back to that exit of turn 2.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yep, I can see it. Yeah, going into turn 3. He made an excellent save right there, actually. Yeah, that was pretty good. And that it is look like that's what caused the pile up and everything.
All right, so as Boone's headed into turn 3 and 4, the 31 is right underneath him. Boone tries to turn down in. 31 does not turn down in and just turns Boone. Boone saves it, keeps it going, and everybody else behind him just stacked up behind him, trying to avoid it as Boone was a little bit slower than everybody else. I mean, granted, he was sideways through that corner, or yeah, coming off that corner, and was able to save it. But unfortunately for everybody else, they did what they needed to do and let off the gas pedals, and some guys did not let off the gas pedals and unfortunately caused an incident there. Good catch, Shad. But that's going to be a blessing for Matt Boone as he stays up here in the top 4. I mean, being sideways in front of the field is not a good feeling. And him being able to save that and then continue on before the caution was actually called, he's going to wind up staying up here in the top 4. Doesn't look like he has too much damage down the side of that car. He has a little bit of damage, but not too significant. Not something he probably won't be able to go down pit road at some point, maybe at the next stage break, and just get it repaired. But I mean, we're 41 laps out of 200. They're what, 26 laps, 29 laps away from the next stage break there, so not too far away.
Now it looks like we're getting ready to go green here. Pendel elected to start on the outside like most of the guys have so far. And we'll see how it works out. You
Pendel
got a
gets that
good jump on
massive
the
launch.
outside.
That outside line on these restarts are just dusting the inside line.
Yeah, he just seems to be. Oh, and we got another wreck right behind Boone, actually. Oh, let's see. Oh, and we got more wrecks after the caution. 3 spinning at the line. Let's see what happened here. It looks like the 32 got turned around going into turn 3. Well, seeing we got a little break, why don't we talk about the sponsor of this race, EPI, Elite Performance Industries. If you guys are out there looking for some good setups for like every week, they got season passes. I believe, I don't know if it's still going on. They were 25% off. I would definitely go check them out. I've ran multiple weeks of their setups, and I tell you what, they are the best of the best. If you want to go out there and be competitive, I would definitely go out check out EPI. They are great guys. They're always great community. Always there to help you out. They got coaching, anything that you need, they got it. Definitely a great group of guys. I joined them week 1 of this season, and it's just been a great ride. So if you guys are just looking for some great setups, great group of guys to run with, learn from, build your iRacing career, definitely check out EPI.
Yeah, they do coaching, they do setups, they do schemes, they have apparel. You can catch them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Um, and while we're waiting for them to come back around to get the one to green, we'll go ahead and run that commercial real quick, and go ahead and take a drink and do whatever you got to do, Stephen, for the next 35, 40 seconds here as we run this commercial. And we'll be right back as they're getting ready to take the one to green and have to go all the way back around. But yeah, EPI. Great group of guys to get setups from, coaching from, schemes, apparel, whatever your iRacing needs are. I'm pretty sure they can work with you and figure out something for you. So we'll be right back as we take a commercial break. All right, Stephen, as we're coming off of turn 3 and 4, that pace car is going to duck on off here. Christopher Bendel being the leader, Kevin Gibney sitting second, Matt Boone up to P3, and Alistair Kirk up to P4. That we saw him earlier on getting caught up in an incident there with the 53, back up in the top 5. Greg Wood now sitting 5th. As we go green, there's going to be single foul, and Chris Bendel is going to get a good jump there, but nobody else is really going to get left behind on that inside line as they were single foul there.
I tell you what, Alistair Kirk got a good jump on that restart. He just went around Boone on the outside. Now he's looking to make a move for second place. He definitely got a real good jump, and it looks like we got another caution again.
I think this is going to be
Not really.
53.
Yeah, I'm not. It looks like it also involved the 25 of Blake Henderson. Yeah, he's involved. The 53's involved.
Yeah, Santiago's involved. E-Step's involved.
Yeah, we got quite a
Go
few
back and
guys.
Take a look at this.
Dan Clavitt.
So we see Andon racing with Dylan McDonald, but the wreck happens out in front of him. So let's go back a little further. All right, so we see Blake battling there with the 90 as they come off the corner there. Blake tags the wall, 90 tags the wall. Blake tries to go underneath the 90, and the 99 or 90 turns down in front of him. And Blake's on the brakes, can't do much there. And a lot of guys, I mean, they were on the brakes, they were trying to let off. Some of them were not; they were just flying through there. But the 53, I heard him in the race chatter saying he was on the brakes, he locked them up, but he slid right into the 25 there. So. Another caution here. We've had 7 cautions through 50 laps so far. Some of these guys are going to have to figure out that they just got to take it easy. And I know a bunch of these guys practiced, so they learned that it does get narrow there. But I'm still seeing a lot of guys tagging that wall, and I don't know if it's just the car is getting tight or If it's the temperature on track is a little different to what they ran in practice, to where the tires are a little bit more stiff on there, I'm not really sure here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, maybe it's just people are anxious. I mean, there's still a long ways to go, especially in this stage. You still got 25 laps. We're only a quarter of the way through the race, so we still got plenty of time. People just gotta take their time, just chill out a little bit, just run their race. Don't really push it too hard, especially coming out of the corners, especially because they get so tight and everything.
All right, just making sure we're back to live here. Chris Pendel still up front with Kevin Gibney. The 8 of Marcus Chafin going to get one of his laps back, I believe, as he was on pit road for a little while there getting some damage fixed. I see SS Motorsports out there is now subscribed for 4 months straight. He put in there and says 4 months, remember who loves you whenever you make it big. So, yeah, Shad's supposed to be in the race tonight, but unfortunately he had to work. So appreciate him out there watching the race still and doing the subscription.
And you know what? Just because he's watching, he was gonna be my pick for tonight.
Well, our picks haven't been very good lately. Every time we pick somebody, they get wrecked out. And I didn't pick him last week, hoping that by not saying his name whatsoever, he wouldn't get involved. But he got involved in a couple of them last week after a couple guys spun out in front of him or locked him up in front of him. But he had a good result with the race, though. Did finish P4, I believe, and was able to move up through the points. So he might have finished P3 before he corrects me. I don't think he did, though. I think he wanted
No,
to
I,
finish in P4.
I think he finished P4. I think you're right. Looks like we got a couple guys blinking through the field, which definitely is not good for the guys that are starting behind him. Looks like it might be the 98. He's definitely got some internet issues or blinking or whatever. But here we go. Pace cars turning on the pit road. We're going back green. Pendel starting back on the outside.
We're back double file too, Steven. So remember that when we go into this first corner, we just started
Yes.
single file.
I know,
And
I
didn't
just-
have any incidents right out of turn 1. Now we're going back to 2 wide. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I'm like, oh, okay.
And Pendel has just left the field.
He's got it figured out on these restarts. I tell you what.
I mean, he's already up to over a half-second lead over Alistair. I'm hearing tires scrubbing back there. I'm not sure if that means somebody's spinning or not, but yeah, I mean, he's just gone. Almost up to a second now over second place of Alistair Kirk. Third place is Kevin Gibney Jr. still out there on that old set of tires. 55-lap run for him. Matt Boone sitting there 4th. Greg Wood 5th. Tyler Woodard 6th. That was after he got into an incident earlier with Blake Henderson when he tagged the wall there and collected Blake. But back up into the top 6. Matt Smith sitting 7th. Yeah, another caution. So let's try to find this one. Not sure where it's at here.
Oh, excuse me. Let's see. 55. Oh, and we got more wrecks happening. Oh my God. Let's see. We got the 55.
I see smoke up there.
Looks like 23, 44, and the 1, I think.
It's the 37, 50, 23.
Yeah, 23, 44. Let's see what happened to these guys.
Looks like it happened before this, though. Oh, there we go. So guy climb, 23 goes in the corner, does not hold the bottom, and just goes right up into the 37. Collecting the 37, collects a few more cars, and a lot of other guys are trying to avoid the incidents with cars spinning all over the place, and more calamity down out of the corner.
Oh, man. Yeah, a couple of guys definitely took a lot of hard hits. I've already seen a couple guys have to use those fast repairs, so.
Yeah, Let's try to grab a driver here. We'll try to grab last week's winner, Dylan McDonald, at a 1776 Motorsports. Dylan, you got a copy. This is Swats and Steven in the booth.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
All right, Dylan. You and I broadcast the race last night for Turn Down for What. Tonight, you're over here in the driver's seat for HTL iRacing League. A lot of different things happening on track. Guys are being a little bit more aggressive than they probably should be. What are you seeing on track?
Like, pretty much exactly what you see on broadcast. A lot of people overdriving the car. This track is super bumpy. I'm just trying to take my time and bide by what I can take. Is just you got to let off so early going into the corner, and the guy just doesn't expect it. And I got into a accident early in the first stage and ran through my fast repair, so I definitely got to take it a little bit easy. But it's all just about people overdriving, and I'm just trying to be safe. See if I can make it to the end of the race.
Definitely one of the faster cars as we watched the last few weeks, making a lot of points, moving up into the top four now for point standings. I don't know where you're at there at the end of that first stage, but second stage is still a few laps away. I know you said you got to take it easy here. What are you going to try to do about points?
I would like to stay in the top 10. Right now I'm running 10th, but stage 1 I finished 9th. Actually clawed my way back up to 9th. Still have not taken tires as we got a wreck.
Oh,
Sorry.
the leader just spun.
Yeah, I my plan is to kind of keep it a little more patient with the car and let the holes and positions open up to me as I drive on the track. Don't take them when they're not there. Just gotta give and take, and there's a lot
So
more
that
taking
methodical
than giving.
patience that you and I were talking about last night and Turned Down for What's race, you're taking it and moving it over here tonight.
Oh yeah, I did. That's how I run all my races now, and ever since ARCs at Daytona, I just took that whole different approach as to being more patient.
Gotcha. Well, you're battling with a 25 tonight for the April Absurdity. He's had a few run-ins tonight, so I know that's got to be in your mind too to be able to beat him out for that. But we'll send you back down to 1776 Motorsports. You guys going for 3 wins in a row with that team. Good luck on the rest of the race, and hopefully we see you at the end of the night in the podium spot.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Going back green. Looks like Pendel chose the inside this time. May have had something to do with that little spin out. But something I like to see is Alistair. He's up there in second. He is on really old tires. He has not pitted at all, and he's still running up there in second with these guys.
Yeah, we talked to him earlier, and he said he did not take tires whatsoever in that first stage. And here we are in the second stage, and I mean he's on 60 lap tires right now. But there's a lot of guys that are actually in that same boat. Kevin Givney also in that same strategy. Christopher Pendel, I believe, is on that same strategy. And then there's a few others there that didn't take fuel, but they're all up front. They're avoiding the incidents that are happening on track. Unfortunately for Chris Pendel, he just had his own incident by himself on a caution lap, but still, I mean, flying. Him and
Man.
Alistair both are now gone from
Yeah.
everybody. About 2 seconds.
They just have it figured out tonight, or especially in just these first 2 stages from what I'm seeing. These two just are in their own class. They are in their own zip code tonight.
I see smoke on the front stretch, and there's going to be a caution there.
It looks like it might have been the 31. If I can find him.
31, I believe, is Greg Gibney, correct? Or Kevin Gibney?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
you are
he's who we were just
correct.
talking about on super old tires.
Yep. I think he may. I was just listening to race chatter, so might not be.
Looks like he got loose and tried to correct it and turned it right into the 35.
Yep. Yeah, I see it right now. Third five was able to make a pretty good save though.
Yeah, I mean, he got swiped there, but he was able to keep it going, so. Let's see who else we can talk to in the field.
Why don't we bring up the leader up here?
Is that
Christopher
Chris
Pendel.
Pendel? Let's see if I can find him here. Got him. Chris, you got a copy of this? Is Swats and Steven up in the booth?
Yeah, I did about get it loose. Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Chris, you're up here leading the field. You're on pretty old tires, but you're dusting the field whenever the restarts happen. Alistair was able to stick with you that time. You had a kind of a freak accident there on the caution lap. What happened there?
Oh man, I was just pulling a typical Mark Martin there at Talladega. You know, I thought I was in third gear and I was in second. I dropped it down a gear to go on the restart and warm tires up, and I got back on the gas and spun her out. So just a mistake there. I'll know not to do that again.
Well, if that's the only incident you're involved, I think you're in a good spot. But
yeah, no,
right now, I mean,
I'll
being up
take
front,
that.
that's where that magic is. You and Alistair are just pulling away from the field on the restarts. You guys almost got out to a 2-second lead there before that caution came out.
Yeah, I'm on old tires. I'm trying some strategy here. I stayed out that last caution and got saved a set of tires, and I feel pretty comfortable racing around Alistair there. Me and him raced around pretty good at Michigan, and he gave me plenty of room. He gave me plenty of room there on the restart there. So hopefully this stage 2 ends with me first. If not, I'll do the best I can to get a good finish here and rack up a set of these tires and get back to going. Hopefully, we get some green flag laps. Just riding under caution is kind of boring. I'm about ready to fall asleep back here, but hopefully we get some green flag laps going.
Yeah, I'd like to see a full green flag run here to really get a perspective on what you guys are dealing with on a full run. I don't think we've seen more than a handful of laps. I think 8 or 9 is probably the longest we've seen so far. So if you guys can get the field to calm down here and go around this track without losing any speed or getting up into the walls, I think you guys will be all right. But you seem to be doing good yourself up front with Alistair. You both are on the same set of tires. Both of you have not taken tires this entire race. So great job on both of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's these caution laps too are kind of helping us as well as keeping our tires cold and keep some grip in them. So that's what's kind of saving us right now. But we got a short stint here to the finish. Hopefully, it's enough to hold these guys off.
Well, you were our number 1 driver to watch tonight out of the top 5 drivers to watch. They had you put at the top of the board for really coming out here and saying this was your favorite track and really was coming out here with a vengeance to try to get this win. And so far, you're doing well, sitting up there in the front, bleeding a lot of laps. Hopefully, we'll see you here at the end of the night. You got 1 to go, or 1 to green as you're coming out of turn 2, so I'll send you back down to where you were. I believe you were part of which team?
Deep Racing.
Deep Racing, okay. All right, I'll send you back down there, and hopefully we catch you at the end of the race.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. All right, Steven, you heard him. He's on the same set of tires as Alistair, both of them. I thought it was a little odd that Alistair did not stop and take tires that one caution or that stage break that we were looking at. But Pendel is also on that same strategy, and they're in the front row, 1-2. So it seems to be working for them. A couple people have taken tires and gone on the back, but they've had to deal with the hornet's nest back there of guys over driving and getting into each other or getting into the walls and things like that. But we're going to go back green for lap 68 of 200 here. They need to start putting together some good runs. And there goes Pendel spinning around.
Wow. I think he may have dropped a gear instead of going up. That's what it looked like from here. But definitely a tough break for him. That is not what he wanted at all.
As well. But that's going to put Alistair Kirk out front. Second is going to be Greg Wood. Third, Matt Boone still sitting there. That's got to be bad for Chris Pendel not getting the caution to come out there. But the way the caution's been coming out tonight, he has to just stay out in front of Alistair and hope that somebody else spins or hits the wall here and creates another caution for him to be able to go in. He is missing the front bumper and hood, so he's going to have to really get that car fixed up. I don't think he's used his fast repair at all, so That'll be lucky for him if he can get through this without going a lap down.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna be going to 5 to go in this stage this time by, and yeah, Alistair, he's just pulled away from this field, and we got a battle for third place here between Boone and
It's
I don't
Boone,
know
Wood,
who that is.
Clavitt, Whitlock, McDonald. They're all
Yeah,
bunched together there. You could throw a blanket over these guys.
yeah.
SS Motorsports out there asking about what speeds the leaders are running. If he's talking about the actual speed on track, we'll take a look here as Alistair comes off of the turn 2, going down that backstretch, hitting
About
162,
165.
165, yeah, right there before he goes into turn 3 and 4. As far as lap times, they're running Alistair out front, running a 23.795 that time. Best lap on track is also Alistair. Or no, sorry, it's Christopher Pendell with a 23.566. So even on super, super old tires, Alistair running lap times almost competitively for the best lap of the race. That's insane to me, Steven.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the level of experience, if you want to call it, or I don't know exactly what the word you would want to put to it, but just the way that these guys can run these cars with these older tires and still lay down these fast laps, it's just insane.
Clavitt moving up into second. Hunter Whitlock falling back and fighting with Matt Boone right now. All three of these guys. We got another caution out on track, and I don't
I
think
think
was the 6
I
able to
think
stay
that's
out there.
I think he was, and I think
Is that the stage break?
I think
It
that's the
is the
stage
stage
break.
break.
Yeah.
So that was very, very lucky for Chris Pendell to be able to stay out front and not go a lap down and be able to hold off till the stage break. If we take a look at his car real quick, he's going to have some damage for sure to fix up on this thing, as it is badly damaged on the front end. It looks more like a modified right now with no front end, railing hanging out and everything. Yeah, that was unfortunate for him. So luckily, he was able to stay out front, and he's going to be able to use that fast repair.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna see everybody come down pit road this time. We see Alistair finally coming down pit road, go grab those 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, and I
We
mean, he
see
just ran 76 laps on those tires. You
and
throw
we
another
saw what he could
76,
do.
140, 152.
Yeah,
It's three-quarters of the race
I
done.
mean, we saw what he could do with the old tires. So now, just imagine you put 4 fresh ones under him. What exactly is he gonna be able to do?
While we're taking this stage break, though, I'm going to run another commercial, and we'll be right back. Steven, go ahead and take a drink. Do whatever you got to do. And we'll come right back to you guys here as they're getting through their pit stops.
That's good.
All right, Steven, and everybody else out there in chat, we are back on track for the Rockingham EPI 200, presented by Elite Performance Industries, where you can get all your setups, all your different schemes, coaching. They have some different clothing and apparel that you can get. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and see what you can find.
Yeah, speaking of EPI, I thought we were supposed to have some guys watching the broadcast. If we got anybody from Elite Performance, go ahead and comment down there. I'd like to see how many people we got watching tonight.
And as we're going through here, also let's anybody out there in chat, if you're watching and you have a driver that you're rooting for, or maybe you're gonna pick a driver to win, go ahead and give us that number as well that you think who's gonna be at the end of this race to be able to win this thing. Oh, we got a driver pulling off. It looked like a 35 pulled way off as soon as the restart happened there.
Oh, wow. And we just saw Alistair just slam the wall coming out of turn 2.
Able to keep it going, though. Matt Boom moving to the front in front of Greg Wood Jr.
Wreck in the back. We got a wreck in the middle.
Was that the 31?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
That might have been who I saw pull off. No, it wasn't him. It was a white and red car, so I think that was the 35 that pulled off real quick from this restart. But we'll go back and try to find this one.
Yeah, I think it was the 31. And the 6.
Ooh. 10,
penned out.
31, 25, 35, 8. There's a bunch of different drivers in there that got into that one. But I heard some race chatter of somebody saying they just locked up the brakes in front of them, but I don't know what.
Yeah, I believe that would have been Gibney. He was trying to lock
Well, he
up
ran
the
right
brakes
in the
to not
back of
hit
the 10.
6.
Yeah. So if we look at this, he goes in that corner. He's following behind the 6, but he just dives it right into the 10 and turns him right in front of the admin owner in the 25. And then that's also the 34, the 8, 55, and a few others that are going to be involved in this one. So.
Well, I was going to ask you if we were going to see a green flag run here. Not yet.
I'm hoping. This is the 9th incident caution tonight, not counting the other 2 for the 11 cautions total as they are stage breaks. So just 9 so far here at Rockingham. It is a mile track. It's a short track, so short track racing does get involved in this. But, yeah, it just looks like some guys are just being a little too aggressive with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the longest part of the race.
And that was the
So-
10 of Corey Kobe that got rammed by the 31 there, too. Racing on the outside of Chris Prendell, who did use his fast repair and fixed up his car. So, 31 avoided the 6, but definitely slammed in the back of the 10 there. And spun Corey Kobe around.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for a lot of these drives tonight that have been involved in these cautions. Had to use their fast repairs early. Definitely not good.
Let's see here. Who can I talk to that? Let's go with Mark Parkhurst, who's up in the top 3 now. Mark, you got a copy. This is Swats and Steven in the booth.
Yeah, man, I got you.
What's going on, Mark? We see you up here in the top 3. You started P5, able to avoid some of these incidents. I think you were involved in one earlier, though. What is your, I guess, outlook on the rest of this race? Hopefully, if we can go green.
I'm just hoping to miss all the wrecks. It's been getting chippy up here a few times. People getting into each other. Everybody's just got to be more patient, honestly. That's what I'm gathering from all this.
Yeah, I'm noticing a few different drivers that look like they're just being a little too aggressive. I know everybody said that this track was hard to pass at, and you just got to get your positions when you can. But There should be different, methods or strategical ways to be able to get those positions, but yeah, hopefully guys can calm down here. You're up front, so hopefully that means you can avoid some incidents. You only really have to worry about 2 guys out in front of you, really, and the guy next to you, Dylan McDonald, in that 38, who is a teammate of yours, I believe. So you guys are coming off turn 4, so I'll send you back down to 1776 Motorsports, but good luck on the rest of the race, bud.
All right, thank you.
I see Boone starting on the outside here. We remember the last time that he
Yeah,
elected the outside. He spun the
he
tires.
said he spun the tires, so looks like he didn't get a good jump again. The 78 able to beat him to the line. I think the 83 was the control car, though.
I think you're right. I do.
I don't think they watched that, though, to see if the 78 did beat the 83 to the line. But, yeah, 83 definitely is the control car on that. But you see him making some speed now coming off this corner, off of turn 4, going through the front stretch. He is making some ground back up on the 78 as he carried a lot of momentum through that corner.
Yeah, and he's running that line that he's always preferred, that inside line. We got one car wrecking. I don't know if he was able to save it or not.
I'm seeing a pow up back there, the
Definitely
53.
not. Yeah. Couple cars involved.
Looks like Blake's involved, too. A couple others. We'll rewind this one and look at this instant replay. So I've seen some smoke out here in front. Ooh, what was that? All right, let's back it up here. We've seen the 53 and 25 really had nowhere to go there. Somebody was spinning in front of them, but I can't tell what car that is.
Yeah, I was trying to take a look, but it was just blank when I was trying to
I think it's a
rewind
77. It is a 77. Tyler Woodard got loose coming out of the corner, went down to the apron, and turned it right back up into the field, spun across the field, and 25 yeah, 25 had nowhere to go on that one. And John Gutkunst there had nowhere to go. Just ran right into the back of the 77 and piled up there in the corner.
Man, with the way these guys are racing, I think I'm gonna have to take a break from the booth, and I'm just gonna have next week. I'm just gonna have to go down here and just show these guys how to race next weekend.
Well, I don't know about that. There's some depth. I mean, these guys they all have really, really good skills. They're all really good drivers. I mean, Dylan I've watched win in multiple different leagues. Blake wins in different places. Dean Klavitz won here. Greg Wood's usually an aggressive driver, but usually up at the front, and we see him up here in the front again. Matt Boone, I mean, we both know him very well from all kinds of different racing with him. I mean, Matt Smith, I've seen all over the place in different leagues. There's just not enough give. And I had put it out there saying I hope the guys would give a little more give tonight than take. But there's just a few guys that are just getting a little loose or just over driving in the corner trying to make up speed and losing it and running into guys, or hitting the wall and spinning off of it, or maybe being too aggressive coming out of the corners and scrubbing the wall or bouncing off the wall or whatever. But I mean, normally these guys are very, very smooth and very skilled, so I'm not sure what's going on with these first couple tracks here. Maybe they'll settle down here and get through this first couple races here and put on more of a clean show. But I mean, we're going into race 4 next week, and that's Vegas. That's usually a track I would think that would be pretty clean for the most part. We go into Wilkesboro after that. That's going to be probably just like this one where it's a crapshoot. Wilkesboro to me is super hard to drive with the Cup cars and Xfinity cars and things like that because you're on the gas way less than you are way less than you are on the gas, or off the gas. I mean, it's pretty much as soon as you come out of the corner, you hit the gas to about midway down the stretch, then you let off to roll it through the corners and things like that, and then wait till you get all the way rolled through the corner, then you get back on the gas halfway down the stretch, then let off again. So you're only on the gas really coming out of the corners to about halfway down the straightaway before you need to let off again, and
Yeah,
that'll be
and
pretty much a shootout.
I know it's a lot different, but I know we both have experience at Wilkesboro in the modifieds, and they're hard to run even in that. So I can't imagine these next gen cars on North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, and it's also a bumpy and rough track too. So it's almost identical to this with Rockingham. I mean, they're both. I mean, they're only separated by a little bit here in North Carolina. So it's just the same style of driving. There's probably going to be on those same two tracks, but we're still here at the Rock tonight. Matt Boone out front on that front row, leading next to the 78 of Greg Wood. Dylan McDonald on the outside, or behind him in that 38. Chris Pendell working his way back through the field. Steven, we saw him get spin himself on the restart from the first position, went all the way to last, didn't have a front bumper or hood, and made it around without getting going a lap down before the second stage break, and now working his way right back through the field, moving for second place right now. He is on the fresher tires, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and he gets loose coming out of the turn, too.
Man,
Saves
we just gotta stop talking about him. every time we talk about him, something happens.
He's getting tight. He's moving up the field, and he's able to fit right between the 78 of Greg Wood and 38 of Dylan McDonald there.
We see Boone here. He's
Boone's trying to get away as far as he can away from everybody.
But I think it's just because you see a bunch of these guys racing, especially Pendell moving up the field. You're gonna see some battles, but
look at the run one gets by running that high line. I mean, he was almost. I mean, that's the Kyle Larson line. He's right at the wall. I mean, Tyler Reddick. They're both of them. They ride right there at the wall. And it looks like we got another caution going on in the back here. And I think it's the 31 again of Kevin Gibney. And we'll back it up and take a look at this instant replay and see what started this one.
Yeah, let's see what happened here.
So we see the 31, 98, and 56 all battling each other right here. And as they go into the corner, the 98 cuts down on the 56, which then turns him right into the 31. So 31, just a innocent bystander on this one. 98 kind of cut the nose off of the 56 of Dean Clavitt there, which turned the 98 down into that back bumper of the 31, turning him into the wall. I think he's the only one that's really going to have a whole lot of damage from this, as the rest of the guys were able to go by him.
We're almost halfway through this race. We're catching up to lap 100. We still got a whole nother half to go. I think it's going to be...
Well, the downfall of that is there's a lot of guys who aren't going to have repairs. There's a lot of guys who are just going to be riding around with damage.
Yeah. The second half is either going to be just like the first one, or it's going to be a complete opposite.
I don't know what they can do for a full fuel run here, but I mean, they're 20 laps into this run right here. They've got 105 laps to go on this. I don't think they can run 125 laps, but if they keep having cautions like this, you can technically clutch it or shut the car off and try to save as much fuel as you possibly can to where it could be close. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would think you'd have to pit again.
We saw it last week. I totally forget where we were last week, but yeah, we saw it last week at Michigan. That was a prime example.
But bringing up the track info, like we said, track is a D-shaped 1 mile track. That start finish line is bowed out a little bit to make it not look like a paperclip. It is D-shaped. So tonight, 79 degrees on track, 27% humidity right now. Wind's still out at 12 mile an hour. And like I said, if you are interested in HTL iRacing League, go ahead and check them out on Facebook.com/HTL Racing League, and get involved in this. These guys, like I said, they're normally just really clean drivers, but these last 2 weeks it's just been real touchy with these next gen cars, and it's kind of the same thing in real life, really. You see, some teams really struggling in real life to really pick up this car, and you don't see those traditional normal guys out front all the time. I mean, you don't see Kyle Busch winning yet. You don't see Martin Truex winning yet. Denny Hamlin hadn't won until last weekend or whatever. You don't see like Kevin Harvick winning, even though he finished second at Martinsville or Richmond. I mean, you don't see those guys up there. It's Kyle Larson's only got one win. We've only got one double win, and that's William Byron. And then you've got teams that normally are not the drivers up front that are riding around up front, like Chastain and a couple others. So I think it's really this car and these guys getting used to this car. And some guys might be used to being able to throw that car around and be a little more aggressive in maybe the Xfinity Series cars or the Gen 6 cars. And this Gen 7 car is just a little bit more different. And if you haven't spent a lot of time in this car, it takes a little while if you are one of those drivers that really has to get a feel of that car. It's just a little different. I mean, I've put a lot of hours in playing with these next-gen cars and learning them on super speedways and specific tracks and things like that. I myself have not run them on the Rock, so I really wouldn't know how to run it on here. But I do know the feeling of the car on specific tracks, so that's, half the battle right there.
Yeah, I mean, while they were doing practice, I ran a handful, maybe a dozen laps of the next gen car on the Rock and everything, and we have another caution.
I think this one's going to involve the 5 or the 21.
Take a look here.
I think it's going to be Alfred Denny in this one.
Yeah, it looks like going into turn 1. Yeah, it looks like the 37, I think.
Yeah, it looks like the 37 slid up the track on the 5 as he had a massive run coming on that outside line, and calamity happened from there and spun down into the 21. 21 kind of gets the worst of it.
Well, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, these next-gen cars. Like I said, I ran probably like a dozen laps or so, and it's definitely a different experience, especially on a track like this. It's very bumpy, very tight. It's a lot different than you would think, and just a whole new concept of the next-gen car. It's a lot different than the Gen 6. It's definitely a lot to take in and a lot to get used to.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, I know some guys will say, you got to show up to the practice race, you got to show up to this. A lot of guys like to practice on their own with the AI and crank up the AI and really get used to the AI running around. I mean, if you can run the AI anywhere from 70 or above and run well against them, you can run well against anybody. That AI is no joke when you crank it up. I mean, I've run it up close to 65, 70% on drivers, and I mean, it's tough. There's no room for mistakes with those AI cranked up like that. So I know they're going to say, you got to show up to the practice race, and the practice race really shows you anything. But I really think the biggest obstacle these guys are having is not the track. It's the driving personality, the driving style, and then the way that the car feels. Like I said, that's half the battle for me, is just knowing how the car is going to feel. Even if it's not the specific track that you're racing, but just knowing how it feels on certain tracks when it gets loose or when it's tight, when the rear end starts to come around on you, just having the ability to correct it, or things like that. That to me is the biggest battle, and then it's the track.
yeah, I 100% agree with you right there. And especially with iRacing. I mean, you have a whole bunch of different cars. You got all these different types of feelings. Every car runs different. You got from street stocks, modifieds, next gen cars. I mean, you can even go to trucks. It, every single vehicle drives different. You got to be able to adapt to that driving ability. And if you're somebody like Boone or Pendel or any of these guys, Alistair, anything that you put these guys in, it just seems like they're able to adapt real quick and they can just run up front and be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen guys come over from the console side that jumped right into iRacing. Some guys that were in the Xbox Pro Leagues over there on Heat, and they came into iRacing, and some of them were very, very quick to pick it up and learn, and were battling for wins and stuff. We've seen Jordan Bain. I mean, I love watching him, but I mean, he came from the console side, immediately jumped into iRacing leagues, and didn't do terrible the first couple races he did, but then he really picked it up, and learning the tire fall off and things like that. And I mean, if he's in the race, you can pretty much count on him being right there in the top three at every single race.
Oh yeah, and I mean, speaking of the console side coming over iRacing, I mean, look at somebody like Daniel Buttafuoco. He's somebody that was real good on the console side,
Hmm.
and he is just picked it up big time on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean that's just those guys though. They just, I mean, even SS Motorsports Chad out there. I mean, he's always been able to pick up things a lot quicker than I have. It takes me a little bit longer to get into a game and really get the feeling of it, and he usually jumps right in and just full bore keeps going. So some guys are just able to do that. Some of us need a little more practice than others of really learning the simulator or the game or whatever it is we're playing. But some guys just are able to do that. But we're back under
Yeah,
green now with 104 laps completed. 78 of Greg Wood there was the outside position, and just clipped the wall and has fallen back to fifth. That's going to move Chris Pendel, who we did see get into that incident, right back to the front as now the new leader of this race, collecting more laps closer to that most laps led through the race. Matt Boone sitting second, though.
yeah, and Pendel is just on fresh tires, and like he was talking about, this is his favorite track, and he's obviously clicked a bunch of laps, and it obviously shows. He's just pulling away from the field. I mean, it's not as big as it was earlier when he was on the fresher tires, but I mean, Boone just got loose coming off turn two.
I mean, he's
Um,
already out to a second lead.
yeah, and we're only 2 laps into this green flag run.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is when Pendel pitted and took tires, I thought he was on fresher tires, but they're actually all on the same set of tires, because that was the stage break, the second stage break, when Pendel came in to use his fast repair after getting himself spun from the front. So they're actually all on the same set of tires. It's just I mean, he's got the fastest lap in the race with a 23.566, and now he's running the fastest laps on track, back out front in that clean air. Boone's running about the second fastest lap of the race, or second fastest on track, and I think he does have the second or third fastest lap of the race behind Pendel, though.
Yeah, it's I'm just speechless. I don't know exactly what to say right now. It's just it's incredible watching Christopher Pendel. Just he's just in a mind of his own. It's just incredible to see what he's able to do tonight.
Actually, let's just jump in the cockpit with Chris and ride a couple laps with him. I mean, Steven, watching from the inside cockpit of his car, you can see he's really wheeling that thing. And he's letting off at certain points, and he's hitting those marks almost every single lap. I mean, he's running almost identical lap times every single lap. He ran a 23.987 earlier, and he just ran a 24.007, so not too far off of that lap before. And he's really just ticking off the laps here, trying to get as many completed as possible, as they are flying now with a good stretch here. If they could run this out, this would be really nice to see a full green flag run, as a lot of these guys have not pitted in 38 plus laps. So it'll be interesting to see how far they can go on these tanks with not pitting earlier.
Yeah, and if we're able to get a green flag run, what kind of strategies are going to come out with green flag pit stops? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that could lead out if this thing stays green. You can see guys trying to save
We got the
fuel,
one up in
letting
the
off
wall,
earlier.
and he's able to save it and keep it going. He's back to 4th place now, but he did brush that wall there coming out of that turn. The 35 of Hunter Whitlock able to get by him for 3rd place.
Well, let's go a little deeper in the field here.
5th, 6th, and 7th are right nose to tail. The 32, the 56, and 78 are trying to push each other to catch back up to the 1 car to try to bring back in the leader. Christopher Pendell and Matt Boone both having a pretty good distance on the rest of the field. Pendell now up to a 2-second lead over Matt Boone. Hunter Whitlock about a second off of Matt Boone's time, and then Bryce Boyer about another second off of Hunter Whitlock's time. So they're getting about a second gap on each other in the front 3, and then from 4th on back, they're all right around that 5.5 second back from the leader. As you see, those 3 caught the 1 and went right by him. They're kind of pushing each other. They all have damage though, so
Yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, if you can get guys to work together, I mean, now you might see the 1 try to link up with these guys, and you might get a 4-car pack, and they might try to do something to try and catch this front pack, but the 1, he just hit the wall again going into turn 3.
78 is underneath the 56 of Dean Clavitt now, trying to fight for that 5th position. '78 of Greg Wood not able to make that pass on the 56. Still not giving up though, still fighting on the bottom line.
Yeah, you just get the outside. You can just get a good run off the corner, especially with all that momentum. So, I mean, yeah, the bottom is the shortest way around the track, but if you're able to carry that momentum on the outside, it's really going to make it hard for that guy on the inside to pass you. But because of those 2 battling, it's allowed the 32 of Mark Parkhurst to pull away from these guys.
Yeah, with the 78 and 56 side by side for multiple laps there, 32 was able to pull away, and it also brought the 1 back into the pack with these 2 back here. So pretty good pack back for 5th and 6th and 7th, and then back to Dylan McDonald kind of by himself a little bit too. Wes Fuller and the 51 of Alistair. Alistair multiple laps down right now, still battling though in the top 10 with these guys. If he could get a couple more breaks, he might be able to come back and be on the lead lap here.
Yeah, it looks like Pandell is starting to catch some lap traffic. It might just be 1 guy. I'm not really sure. I can't really see that good, but
Yeah, he's caught Guy Clem in the 37,
yeah.
who is a lap down.
So we'll see if Guy battles him or if he's gonna let him go. It looks like he's giving him a little bit of a hard time here right now.
Yeah, Clem is 6 laps down, so you'd think he'd just pull over and let the leader go. Alistair, that we were talking about back there battling with the lead lap guys, is 9 laps down, so he's going to need multiple incidents on track to allow him back on the lead lap, which is unfortunate because Alistair was very fast up at the front, getting caught up in other people's messes there. But we had a good set of green flag laps run here. I don't know, what is that, 20-something laps run. So moving through the laps now as these guys are going green, we'll see who can make a pit stop here under green as they are getting closer. That is the 49th lap run there for Chris Pendell. So I think they said between 60 is where they were going to be at for laps.
Yeah, that should. It's
And Hunter
gonna be
Whitlock just
close
passed Matt
because
Boone.
right around that pit window it's gonna be close because it'll be right around 60 to go in the race.
Like we said about this April absurdity thing that they're doing, Boone, he's battling with the 98, who's had some issues tonight. The 98 is currently sitting back in 11th. So Matt Boone would move forward. Let's see, the 5 is battling the 53. So let me look back at the lineup right now. 5, Wes Fuller sitting 9th. The 53 is 12th.
Yeah.
94 and 90 are battling. That would be Angel Santiago sitting 13th in the 90. The 94 of Corey Andon is sitting in 23rd. Let's see. The 8 and 21 are battling. That's Marcus Chafin and the 21 of Alfred Denny. Alfred Denny sitting 15th. The 8 car of Marcus Chafin sitting 22nd right now. And then the bigger battle that we were talking about earlier on the race was the 25 and 38. That's Blake Henderson and Dylan McDonald. Blake now sitting 19th and Dylan McDonald sitting 8th. So still a lot of race left here. About 50 laps or so, or 60 laps or so. But these laps are ticking off now with 24-second laps being run. They're running close to 2.5 laps per minute.
Yeah, I'm just glad we were able to finally get a green flag running, see what these guys are actually able to do. I mean, Chris Pendell, he's just cooking through the field. This lap traffic really isn't holding him up too much. He's just able to go right by him, just keep extending his lead. He's up to a 2.5 second lead, so it really hasn't gained that much. He's pretty much steadied going through this lap traffic. Um, but another guy like we were talking about earlier, Hunter Whitlock, he's right up there in second. So
Yeah, I mean, Chris, we were talking about Chris might have won last week at Michigan if he didn't lag out of the race. He was battling for the win there, and unfortunately lagged out of the race and wasn't able to battle the rest of the way to the finish. But like they said earlier, he's won 2 league races this last week alone, and two different leagues. And according to him, this was his favorite track. And we talked to him earlier, and him saying, he's out here trying to really be on a mission to win this race. It's his favorite track to run, and I mean he's showing it with the speed that he's putting down with these laps. I mean he's crazy fast right now.
and the one thing is, and the main thing is, he's consistent. If you can stay consistent, that plays a big part in the race.
I mean he's running about the same lap times still about every lap. So I mean he ran a 24/7. The lap before this one, he ran a 24.863 this last one, and let's see what he comes across with this one.
24.8.
24.808. So I mean, he's running super consistent lap times. He's able to put those laps down and hit his marks every single time. Once you get out in front and you get that fresh air and you can really relax and just hit your marks. I mean, he's doing everything in his power to lead as many laps as possible and try to stretch his lead. Hunter Whitlock able to get by Matt Boone there for second place, moving Matt Boone to third. Has stretched on Matt Boone about 2 seconds. Hunter hasn't really closed in on Chris too much, but the top 5 are all in the same pit strategy. If you got to go back to 6th place with Dylan McDonald only on 39 lap old tires, and then Wes Fuller sitting there in 7th is on 34 lap old tires.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the field here, see if I can't find any battles going on, but everybody's just pretty much spread out. They're all just running their race. I mean, he's working his way up to, I think, 14th, gonna be lapping 14th here pretty soon. So he's just going, and I mean, especially with this green flag run, everybody's just all spread out. They're finally getting the laps in. You don't really see people pushing too hard now because they got so many laps. They're gonna have to be pitting soon. I'm sure the tires are getting some wear on them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the packs here, and Dylan McDonald, Wes Fuller, Dean Clavitt, Bryce Boyer, Matt Smith, and even Matt Steven and John Gutkunst. They're all sitting, right around the same distance from the leader. So they're all within a little group here. They might have a little bit of a gap in between each pair, but they're all within a half second of each other. That one though is definitely looking like Tyler Riddick out there scraping that wall. It's eventually he's going to hit that wall at the wrong spot and put a good dent in it. But I mean, he's carrying so much momentum by riding up there at the wall. But the problem is the pellets are all being moved up to the top of the track. So if it's not cleaned up at all, you can get into that dirt that's up there at the track with the rubber pellets, and it'll slide you right on that wall. But when he hits it right, you can see the momentum that he carries and just pulls right up to the back bumper of that 56 of Dean Clavitt. The 35 is closing a little bit now, actually down to about 1.8 seconds back from Chris Pendel. I think the traffic, though, is probably hindering the 35 just a little bit as he's trying to make his way past the 31 right now, but the 31's kind of running the line that the 35 is wanting to run. So he's going to have to make a different pass with a different lane to get around this 31 as he goes underneath him into turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, because of Hunter have to go through and battle in some lap traffic. That's
He just lost
really
about a second and a half there on that.
yeah, exactly what I was just gonna say. Thanks for stealing my thunder.
Gotcha going on that one. But, yeah, I mean, just looking at the lap times and stuff, I mean, you can see it. Hunter lost just shy of a second there. Chris Pendel ran a 24.970. Whitlock, unfortunately, stuck behind that 31, only ran a 25.568. And it looks like Hunter's going to come down pit road. Also, the 32 of Mark Parker is coming down pit road. This would be the last stop if they can go green.
Yeah, it looks like Pendel may have overdrove turn 1. He had just scrubbed the wall. It really didn't slow him up that much, but he had just scrubbed it just a little bit.
We'll see the 35 going into his pit stop here. See if he lifts up the sides and throws on tires. Missed his pit stall. Right sides are going up on the 35 and 32. And lefts should be, yep, lefts are going up, so those guys are getting 4 sets of tires and full on fuel. Greg Wood is also into pit road now. 78 trying to make his stop. I think they're all looking at this saying, hey, there's, 55 laps to go. We should be good to go to run a 55-lap run. If they continue to run these green flag laps like they have been for the past about 50-something laps, this would be the last pit stop. So Chris out there still running really fast laps. We got another caution. I'm not sure where this one's at.
I think it was on the 56. Dean Clevitt. Let's rewind here. Oh yeah, going into turn 1. So it looks like he just drove it in, got real tight, got into the 1, just spun himself out, collected a couple of the guys, 98. But he was able to get turned back around.
So we've seen the 1 go by. Dean then coming into turn 1 here, goes to the middle lane. It does not stick, and he goes right up into the 1, which also then collects Matt Smith, collects the 98. So that unfortunately is going to bring out the caution, but that's going to trap a few people a lap down there as Guntkunz, Parkhorse, Whitlock, E-Step, and Denny had already made their pit stops and been 1 lap down. This should mean that they should be able to stay out, though, and collect that waiver round. Nathan E-Step should be the lucky dog as well. But for the better part, Chris Pendel, Matt Boone, Bryce Boyer, Dylan McDonald, Wes Fuller all stayed out, did not come down pit road. So they did not have to be worried about this caution.
Like we were talking about earlier, just we're gonna have different strategies. So we're probably gonna be coming to 50 laps to go when we go green. So most of these guys should be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel and tires.
I'm seeing guys staying out here. All right, so it looks like the first set of guys pitted on the first opening, and the rest of these guys are now pitting on the second, which is odd. But that's going to put our boy Matt Boone out front with Dylan McDonald, last week's winner for that 1776 Motorsports team, sitting second. Wes Fuller is going to be sitting third, and Christopher Pendel, that we were just seeing as the leader, lost a few spots on pit road. Now going to be sitting fourth with Dean Clavitt rounding out the top 5. I'm trying to look at the pit stops here. What happened? Oh, Chris Pendel had... Looks like he had a penalty or had some damage to fix. He was in pit road for 37.7 seconds. So that's a 15-second additional pit stop there.
I know he had scraped the wall, but I didn't think he got any damage from it. I don't know if he had any damage from before then, but I didn't think he had gotten to anything else other than that incident earlier.
Well, let's go ahead and... Let's pull that, let's pull the leader. Actually, you know what? They're 1 to green. I'm going to let them be. I don't want to mess them up from the first position, so. I am seeing Big Papa Bear out there in the chat, though, saying, hello, everyone. What's going on, Papa Bear? Trying to get through the Rockingham race right now. These guys, having some few issues here with these cars on this track, but Matt Boone out front as the leader right now. Dylan McDonald, who joined me in the booth last night for Turn Down for What's race, last week's winner at Michigan, also sitting in the front row next to Matt Boone on that inside line of that 38 Chevy, sitting second right now, up 17 positions from his starting position. That inside line second row is Wes Fuller in that 5. The leader before that last caution there is on the outside in the second row in the 6 of Chris Pendel.
Looks like we just extended the caution, so we're now 2 to green.
Oh, okay.
It looks like Pete just raided you too, also.
Oh, well, thank you, Pete. Big appreciation for the raid. Hope you guys' race over there in SMB went well. The race here, there's been some good action, but there's been a lot of guys been just a little bit aggressive, and it's caused some issues. But that last run there was about a 50-55 lap run, maybe 65 lap run before the next caution came out. So hopefully we can go green the rest of this race. We've got just shy of 51 laps to go at 23-24 second laps. That should be about 2.5 laps per minute. So these laps should tick off really quick. Everybody joining from Pete's raid there, really appreciate you guys coming in. Tonight's race, HTL iRacing, being brought to you by Elite Performance Industries. They are 1 to green now as the pace cars should duck on off down pit road. Matt Boone going to leave that outside line with Dylan McDonald on the inside as we're going to go green, Steven.
Oh boy. It looks like Boone got an excellent jump on the outside this time, and he's got Pendel right on his rear.
Yeah, he timed that one right.
Yeah, and we see how strong he's been. So, and he's already making a move, trying to make a move on the outside of Boone here for the lead.
Oh, and he's going to hold the inside line. Matt getting a little bit, it almost looked like he was getting loose there, but he was able to correct it. Pendel now with the momentum on the outside line, going to take the position as Matt's going to stay down on that bottom line and run the shorter way around the track. Pendel carrying the momentum, coming off of turn 2, going down the backstretch, going to stretch away from Matt Boone. Dylan McDonald now right there as well for the top 3, battling it out. And we got Mama Fuller in the chat saying, go Wes and Dylan. That would be Wes Fuller's mom out there in chat. Definitely appreciate you joining in and watching your son tonight. And Dylan, who is sitting here in P3. Your son, Wes Fuller, sitting back there in 4th, right behind his teammate in 1776 Motorsports. 38 and 5. Actually, I don't think they're teammates over here, but they are teammates in another league. So Wes and Dylan battling it out for 3rd and 4th. And Steven, we have another caution out on track.
Let's see
I
where
think
this
that's
one
going to be the
came
32
from.
is involved in that one, Mark Parkhurst.
Let's rewind here and take a look. All right, so looks like going into turn 1. Looks like the 55 bounced off the wall, just came into the 32.
You see the 55 with no front bumper, tags the wall just a little bit, tags the wall coming out of the corner, turns right into the 32 as the 56 was also right there and helped the 32 go around. Not good for the 32. Some of these guys that have been up front that have pitted and now been in the back, they're racing against guys with no bumpers or damage or things like that, and they're really having to really race these guys hard to try to get by them, and unfortunately for them, it's just not working on some of these. They're getting caught up in somebody else's mess. We've seen some of these guys be very, very fast, and when they're back here, Parkhurst was just up front in the top 4 before that first caution, before he pitted, and now he's going to be involved in somebody else's mess with tagging the wall and coming down on him, to where now he's going to be back here in about 12th, and he's going to have to pit and get some of that damage fixed if he can. Papa Bear out there saying, let's go, Boone. Boone is sitting 2nd right now, right behind our most laps led, the 6 car of Chris Pendell earlier, saying he was going to try to harness as much as he could from Mark Martin driving this car. A beautiful paint scheme. I know SS Motorsports out there, he races this paint scheme when we were on heat a lot. But Pendell, he's putting them on him here. Him and Boone and Dylan McDonald are really just flying around this track. Wes Fuller moving up through the field, up 19 positions, along with Dylan McDonald up 16 positions. Boone was our pole sitter for this race. Been up front most of the race. Hasn't really been outside the top 5. Only back 1 position right now, starting on the outside line. But Chris is going to have the advantage starting the inside line of being the control car. So Boone's going to have to really stick with him and hopefully he does not spin the tires on that outside line. But Steven, we are coming around to 1 to green. Pace car should duck on off here. We should have about 44 laps to go here. Are you going to make a pick tonight, or are you still going to keep it silent?
I'm keeping it silent. No, it's.
I'm pretty sure I know who your pick is, but I'm gonna keep it there.
Yeah, it should be pretty obvious. Oh, and
Oh, and
Boone
Boone
almost
making
got
contact.
wow. That was close.
I think they were able to save that. Him and the
Yeah, they
one
were.
making contact coming off of turn 4.
I hear.
What was that? Sounded like an
Yeah.
engine just blew somewhere. I'm not sure what that was.
Oh, we're still green, so
I think it was Blake. Blake has blown an engine and coming to pit road, rolling, just coasting down pit road now, trying to get to his pit stall. Back up front, Chris Pendell has separated himself almost over a half second, almost 3/4 of a second as he goes through turn 3 and 4, coming off and going through that D-shaped front stretch, leading more laps tonight. I think he's pretty much got most laps led locked down. Now he's just focusing on trying to get to the finish and win this race, as he pretty much called it from the beginning, as we said, that he was the #1 driver to watch tonight at this track. He has been focused on this track. It's his favorite track. He wanted to come out here and win. Started P7, up 6 positions to the leader spot right now. Dylan McDonald sitting 2nd. So Mama Fuller out there still rooting for West and Dylan. Dylan still sitting 2nd. West still battling for 5th position, up 18 positions. Now falling back to 7th, though. Battling it out with the 56, the 29, the 35. There's a whole just gaggle of cars right here, right next to each other, just kind of battling it out for this middle top 10.
We were almost 3 wide there for a second for a minute there. Looks like the one, he's still pulling it. Tyler Reddick just running the wall, and he's up in the wall. He was able to save it though.
Oh,
He
Boone
he
gets
got
by
those
him.
right sides of the ground.
Boom, back into 3rd position. But all these guys right here battling from about 2nd on back. One getting loose, going into the grass on the front stretch. Able to save it. 98 up in the wall in turn 1. I think these guys are trying to do a Carl Edwards. I'm noticing, though, in the 35, he might have his brake bias turned up or something. I've noticed a few times when he went into the corner, smoke coming from his right rear. Oh, and he gets loose and clips the 29. 29 gets turned into the wall, turns into the 1. 1 finishes off the 35 as he was still slow after clipping the 29 there.
Tough break for Hunter Whitlock. He was one of the faster guys tonight. Definitely one of the guys to watch.
So focused in on that 35 there as he gets by the 32, or the 1, sorry, getting real loose on the bottom. 32 coming up on the 29, dives it in there, goes high, goes to the wall, comes off the wall. Did I go too far back? Oh, here it is. So he's making up some speed, carried the momentum into that high line, comes off of the high line, off of turn 4, gets a little loose, clips the 29, 20, or the 1 sitting right there after he just gotten loose, was able to, not able to, but he collected the 29 as he was spinning across in front of him, and when he did, he turned it down onto the 35, who clipped the 29. So unfortunately, 35 did not make it away from there, but I don't think the 35 got too much damage, Steven.
Yeah, no, I rewinded to watch, and it looks like after the 1 clipped him, it didn't look like he hit the wall too hard. So, he should be able just to stay out. Not even if he has to go into pits, it should just be a little bit of optional. He shouldn't have too much damage at all. Should be able to just keep on going.
So I've talked to 4 of the top 5 people right now. That 31 we've seen in multiple incidents tonight somehow is up here in the top 4. With all the damage on his car, he is still up here in the top 4. And we have not talked to him tonight, so let's go ahead and try to grab him real quick and see if we can get him up in here in the booth and get his perspective on the race. Kevin, you got a copy of this of Swats and Steven in the booth, buddy.
10-4, loud and clear.
All right, bud. We're seeing you making your way up through the field. You're sitting P4 right now. We haven't really seen a whole lot of you tonight. You've been involved in a few different incidents, from either just getting loose or getting caught up in other people's messes, but you're sitting up here in P4. We've got less than 50 laps to go, less than 45 laps to go. What is the rest of the race strategically going to be for you?
Honestly, just try and keep it clean. I know that's hard to do here with such a narrow track such as Rockingham, but I think if we get some patience around other cars, I think we can absolutely do it tonight.
Well, we've seen that you guys are all on basically the same set of tires, so we'll see what happens here. I know the car lining on the outside of you in that 32 machine does not have a front bumper, so or actually diagonally from you, but you're coming off of turn 4 now. I'll send you back down to your group. But good luck, bud, and hopefully we see you at the end of the night. Were you in Tombstone or were you in Deep?
Deep.
Deep. All right. Good luck, bud.
Thank you.
Here we go. Pace car pulling off. We got Boone starting on the outside and Pendel starting on the inside. Pendel's been really good on the inside on these restarts. He's been able to just take right off.
I mean, he's pretty much taken off every time he could from the lead. Dylan working on Matt Boone for second place. Matt out on the outside line, Dylan on that inside line. We've been seeing Matt run that bottom line, and Dylan has been running the high line, but Matt now up top carrying the momentum, clears Dylan through the front stretch. Now Matt Boone going to be sitting second. Now going to try to run the middle line and kind of float up a little bit and come back down to the bottom, kind of diamonding the corners here a little bit. He's able to carry the speed. Pendel, he's been sitting behind Pendel for a little while now. Maybe he's learned something from the way Pendel's been driving this race.
Yeah, if I was in Boone's position right now, I'd just be watching Pendel in front of me, seeing how he's running the track. Try to run the same line. If not, run a little bit higher, trying to get a little more momentum off the corner. See if I can't close that gap.
It's weird though. The 32 back here in 4th place has no front bumper, and he's battling guys. The 21 of Alfred Denny is on his inside, but he's not giving it up easy. He's still right there with him, carrying the momentum into the corners. Really rides that wall. And comes back down with a lot of speed, and the 21 just not able to carry the momentum out of the corner with getting loose. And now you see the 56 come into play, and we're going to have 3 guys battling it out with one guy right behind the 56 as well. That's Wes Fuller, the 5, back in this. There's a whole group of cars, and I don't know if it's because the 32 is holding them up or they're just all at the same speed, just battling it right here. I think 98 just clipped the wall again.
Let me get to where you are. Yeah,
we see Alfred Denny dropping.
Man, we got a group of 7, 8 cars battling.
Yeah, you can throw a blanket over these 8 cars. You see Matt Smith getting loose back there. You see Wes getting loose, all able to save it and keep it going. But we are 2 wide by 2 wide. See how the smoke rolls off of the 5 car there, off the left rear. And I don't know if that's just a brake bias on how they got these cars set up. That when they go into the corner, if they touch that brake, it smokes the left rear. It's kind of odd. I've never really seen it do that before, but I've seen it off a few different guys' cars tonight. Guys still getting loose. Alfred Denny loose off of turn 4 through the front stretch. Losing. See how the smoke rolled off again of that 21. I'm not sure what's happening with that. It's got to be the way they've got the car set up and dialed in with a camber, and then the brake bias on depending on who has it set at certain numbers. They're really touching that brake before they go into the corner, and it's really smoking that left rear.
Yeah, it really seems to be just going into turn 1. I don't really see it too much going into turns 3 and 4.
And back up front with Matt Boone and Christopher Pendel. Christopher Pendel still running the fastest
Oh, we
lap
got a
on
wreck
track.
in the back. 51 of Alistair again. It looks like it might be the 78 involved too.
'78 kept going. All right, we'll try to find this one. Go back to the HTL iRacing KS Gaming instant replay here.
Yeah. So it looks like coming out of turn 2, the 51 just kind of moved up the track a little bit, and the 78 clipped him, turned him right into the wall.
I think the 51 let off the gas a lot to stay off that 29, Matt Smith up on the outside in that first turn. And then as they went through the next corner, Alistair, again with the smoke coming out, you can see Greg trying to lay off the back bumper of him. And then as he comes up out of turn 4, they clear each other, go through the front stretch, go into turn 1 and 2. And I'm going to say Alistair has to let off. 29's coming down. 51 rows up the track and cuts into the 78 and gets turned.
All right, Kurt, we got 25 to go. What's your predictions for these next 25 laps?
I mean, we've seen guys be super aggressive there in the first half of the race, first 3 quarters of this race. I really just hope that they can finish this thing out green. We've got about 10 minutes left on the clock, so these guys are flying around here when they're going green, but just a little bit of aggressiveness or the tightness of the cars, or it could be how they're smoking that tire into the corner, and it's really wearing that tire down. I'm not sure if that's what's making them loose or not, but we've seen a bunch of guys get loose coming off the corners, so I'd love to see it finish out green and let Pendel and Boone and McDonald up there in the top 3 battle it out. Pendel's been super strong especially being that control car on these restarts. And he just goes and he pulls away from everybody. Boone, I don't know if he can compete with Pendell's speed off the restarts. Boone's been really, really smooth. I don't think he's been involved in any of these incidents. Pendell, even though he's the leader, he's kind of only been in 2 incidents, and both of them he did himself by himself. When he downshifted when he was under caution and spun into the wall himself, and then on the restart, I guess he downshifted again and spun it down to the inside wall. So 2 self-inflicted wounds for him, but still out front in the first position. So Matt Boone is who I would like to probably see try to give a battle to Chris Pendell, and same with Dylan McDonald. But Chris has just been so strong, Steve. I don't know if anybody can really stick with him.
I don't know. Here we go, going green. Let's see if anybody can stick with him.
Chris Pendell getting that jump again as they go into turn 1 and 2. Dylan McDonald fighting on the bottom of Matt Boone.
Boone gets
They're
in the wall,
getting
and we
adored.
got a wreck.
And Boone's now involved in one. I should have mentioned that he hasn't been involved in one tonight. Oh,
Yep.
and he almost cleared it completely without getting a whole lot of damage, and somebody just spun off the wall into him. Dylan involved in this one, 56 involved in this one, 51, 10, 90, 78,
Let's go.
21, 22, 35,
All right, so
56, all involved in this one. So
looks like
we'll back it up
McDonald. Oh God, it's kind of hard to tell.
So we'll go to chase mode here and see what we can see between these two. You see Dylan's got a bunch of damage to that rear end, but as they go out of this corner, you can see they're closing into each other. You can see Dylan's pointing to the outside wall, and Boone's already there on the outside, so he can't go anywhere else. And as he comes off, Boone clips the wall, bounces it off the 38. Bounce it off somebody else there, and I mean, 38 was in position, 83 was in position. 83 just ran out of room there on the wall. Didn't have much of a choice from coming down, as 38 was right there on the side of his door as they came out of that corner, just racing hard. And 83 just scraped the wall. But I'm pretty sure he has not been involved in any incidents tonight. So he should still have that fast repair with, 20 laps to go. Should be able to come out with a brand new car here and try to race his way back up to the front, as we only have, I believe, the top 14 are on the lead lap out of 27. So he's not going to have to start too far back, and he has been one of the faster drivers right there with Chris Pendell, both of them with brand new cars. The rest of the field pretty much all has damage.
And the big thing is I'm pretty sure Boone took 4 fresh tires. So I think he's, unless some of these other guys in the back took the tires, I think he's gonna have the freshest tires in the pack.
Yeah, I'm noticing Nathan Estep was in there for 50.7 seconds. I don't know if he has any tires left, but if not, he probably took them there. Angel Santiago was in there for 8.1 seconds. That might be a right side only and fuel. Wes Fuller was in there for 27.6 seconds. That could be, full set of tires and fuel, or it could have been no tires, fuel, and just repaired, as he was involved in that one. So Boone was in there for 14.1, so I'm going to assume he probably took tires and fuel.
Yeah, and I think he used that fast repair.
Yeah, he definitely used the fast repair. He had to use it on that one. I don't think he had much choice. He had some major damage to the side of his car. I don't think he could have risked just sitting in there and fixing it up. But like we said, a lot of these guys out in front of him, as you see the 3 cars out in front of him right now on that inside row of Alistair Kirk, the 35, and another driver there, all with missing front bumpers, and the 55 behind him. So he's going to have to work his way back through here as we go green. Chris Pendell just gone from the rest of the field. It's Chris Pendell's show right now. He's basically just waiting for these laps to get over with so he can claim his trophy. He's pretty much been just trying to dominate as much as possible. mean, he's out there just running these laps down, and I mean, he's putting them down, and they're fast. So, I don't think anybody else has been able to keep up with him. The only one I would say is probably Matt Boone and maybe Dylan McDonald, as they've been right there with him up front most of the night and running consistent laps with him. He's just a little bit more consistent and able to lay those laps down and stretch away from everybody.
Well, if we think back to earlier in the race, I mean, I know he's had some tough luck tonight, but Alistair was able to keep right up with him, especially in the beginning with those older tires and everything. They were pretty much side by side.
Boone already up in the top 10 too. Same with Dylan. Dylan's following right behind Boone. They're trying to work through this traffic together as they've got a lot of traffic out in front of them that are way slower than them. Boone's kind of stuck behind these guys, trying to find any kind of opening to get around him. We got guys crashing out in front of him, 3 of them into the inside wall, 1 on the hood. And that's the 98 that's on the roof sliding there.
Let's go back and see what happened here.
I think they caught the wall 3 wide.
Take a look. Going into turn 1. Yeah, it looks like yeah. I don't know if he went down or 78 went up, but he just collected the 78, just turned him, and he ended up him on his roof.
So we see him go down in turn 1, 78 being aggressive even without a bumper, trying to go underneath the 98. 78 going down, clips the yellow line. I think that's what sent him up the track. And it just turned him right into the 98. And I think was that the 56 of Dean Klavitz also involved in this. That's going to put all 3 of them with some more damage. And, of course, that 98 stuck on his roof. Going to have to tow.
Sucks. Those guys were right up in the top 5 when that happened.
Repeat out there saying future broadcaster in training behind me. I think he's talking about you, Steven.
Oh boy, I don't know. I we'll see. I'm
We're
definitely
closing
learning to
down
walk.
now with like 13 laps to go. So these guys are really trying to get it. Pendel down on the apron. Not sure if he's just trying to conserve fuel or what he's doing. Oh, never mind. Sorry, Repeat wasn't talking about you. Apparently he was talking about my son.
Wow.
He said your
I
son,
see how it is.
LOL. I didn't
See
mean
how
Steven.
it is.
So
I thought I was actually doing a good job.
well, I would say you're doing a good job, Steven. You're definitely, like I said before, always welcome here in the booth. You do a lot of good input. You follow around the different cars and the track, so definitely appreciate you coming in. Always here on Monday nights, so anytime you're free, you're always welcome.
Oh, I appreciate you letting me up here. These last 2 weeks have been awesome. I mean, yeah, we've had some cautions, and there haven't been many green flag runs, but the experience that I've gotten to have, it's insane.
And to those out there in the chat, let's try to not be negative here. I know the racing's tough. These guys are just getting used to each other. These next-gen cars are sometimes a handful, so let's try to keep it positive and
And
see
we
what
go
these guys
back
can do.
green.
And we see
Chris
Pendel out there just
Yeah,
gone again.
he's all night long.
Look at the whole gaggle of cars back here.
And
They're getting turned again.
another wreck. And Boone got involved in that one again.
I think that one was just 3 wide racing again, coming down to the finish here.
Yeah, it was someone clipped a wall. They got 3 wide. And just got turned.
So about the 9 cars that were sitting there racing against each other were probably involved in that one, as they were all trying to avoid it or getting caught up, trying to race through it. But unfortunately, we're not going to have that many cars left here, I don't think.
No, especially with the. I mean, even if we do, they're missing front bumpers. I mean, there's a lot of tore up race cars in this race. But especially with all the cautions that we had like in the beginning, and with the guys having to use their fast repairs, some of them getting involved in these late wrecks, is some of them is just ending their days.
It looks like Boone's still going to be scored 4th, so still up here in the front.
I don't really think he got much damage from that caution. It looks like
I don't think he has
would
much
end up-
choice because he doesn't
Yeah.
have a fast repair. So
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be under 10 to go when we go green.
yeah, it should be 9 to go once they go green here. This will finish up. Who's going to be able to compete with Chris? That's the problem. Is he's the cleanest car out here. Hasn't had any damage ever since he used that fast repair. He's moved his way right back up to the front and has never looked back. So all these guys up front, you see guys missing front bumpers, people with banged up cars. Probably the next car in line would probably be Boone or Dylan for the next
Yeah.
cleanest cars.
I was gonna say, I would think it would be Boone just because he has fresher tires than Chris, but Chris he's just been so good on new tires or old tires. It just doesn't matter. He's just been so good all night long.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I once Chris gets the restart, I mean, he dusts the rest of the field by a half second before turn 1, really, or getting out of turn 2. And even if Boone or Dylan have fresher tires, or even if they had clean cars, I don't think they could get to him with the amount of jump that he's getting on the rest of the field.
Well, let's find out. Here we go. Going back green. And we're gonna have a caution. Maybe not. Maybe they saved it.
There's a car up on the wall. I think it's Boone. So going back to the Dylan McDonald issue with Boone, looks like the 78 might have given a bump to Dylan, which turned him into Boone, which Dylan tried to stay off of Boone, which turned his car sideways. You see 78 give a shove to him, then he clips him, turns him, able to straighten it out and keep it going. That's not what brought the caution out, but then Boone going up into the next turn gets shoved by, I'm not sure who that is. I think that's the 94 of Corey Andon. Might have given a bump to Boone there. Let's rewind that real quick. And I think that's the 5 of West Fuller that gave the bump to Boone, and Boone had nowhere to go. He caught that outer safer barrier wall, and it just turned him up on his door. But I just heard one of the admins over Race Chatter just say that this is the last restart that they will have to finish out this race because it's getting too dark on track.
I was just gonna say that. Oh, here we go. They got one shot. Let's see what happens. I think you're just gonna see Chris just do what he's been doing all night long. He's just gonna take off, and if we have a caution, it's just gonna be the end of it. And that's it. Big wreck at the restart.
I don't know what happened there. I was trying to get it back, but for some reason, whoever was on was out of the race. So let's
I
back
think
it up here.
either somebody just spun the tires or didn't shift. But let's see what it came from.
So Chris tries to leave, stacks up the field a little bit. 78 runs right in the back of the 5, which turns him right into Boone, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's what caused it right there. There's a lot of guys. I could hear somebody saying Chris has been blinking, but I'm not seeing any blinking on my end for Chris.
No, I haven't seen anything from him. He's been fine on my screen.
So as we back it up, I think this one's probably going to be on the 78, trying to stack or trying to jump the restart here. But he runs right into the back of the 5. So as they come out of the corner, pace car ducks on off. 78 tries to get the jump and runs right in the back of the 5, turns him right into the 83, or 53, which then piles everybody else.
And I guess that will be the end of the race.
Yeah, I think they're going to run this one out. 4 laps to go. I think the top 3 is going to wind up being Christopher Pendel, Mark Parkhurst, and Angel Santiago. Santiago moving up 21 positions tonight to 3rd place. Parkhurst started P5, is going to wind up P2, and Pendel, who started P7, is going to win this race, and this will be the race that he said he wanted to win. It was his favorite track. Was kind of on a mission to win this race. He led a lot of laps. Bowling out there saying if he didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. I mean, I agree, Bolin. You had a clean car up until about the last 15 laps here. And unfortunately, more stuff happened. You got caught up in it. But it was a great race for you. You led a bunch of laps. You were up front the entire race. Wish you would have been able to hang in here, but I think your car is busted a little bit. So looks like you're off track right now. But I think the rest of the field, we're going to look at Matt Smith finishing 4th, Hunter Whitlock 5th, Nathan Esteps finishing 6th, Wes Fuller finishing 7th, Greg Wood Jr. finishing 8th, Dylan McDonald, last week's winner, finishing 9th, Alfred Denny finishing 10th, Corey Kobe 11th, Matt Boone 12th, Alistair Kirk 13th, Stephen Take the rest.
Dean Clevitt finishing 14th, Matthew Stevens finishing 15th. Oh boy. How do you pronounce his last name?
John Guntkunz.
Yeah, he's finishing in 16th. We got Kevin Gibney finishing 17th, Marcus Chaffin finishing 18th, Bryce Boyer finishing 19th, Gary Donaldson finishing 20th, Guy Clem 21st, Blake Henderson 22nd, Corey Andon 23rd, Tyler Woodard 24th, Ryan Moutre finishing 25th, David Anderson 26th, and rounding out the field was Nathan Blankenship finishing 27th.
Well, unfortunately, it has gotten too dark to really see the cars. I'm going to let them finish it out here with the 2 laps they've got to do under caution here, but it's getting really dark on track to barely even seeing the cars rolling around here to try to get the top 3 in the booth after this finishes up. I was trying to stay on it so that I could see Christopher Pendel's burnout here, but I'm not sure if anybody's even actually able to see it on screen. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone now. I see, okay, I can see the cars a little bit, but the sun is definitely set.
Yeah, it is definitely dark. I don't think it mattered if I freaking picked him tonight or didn't. he was just on a tear all night long.
Guessing you're gonna tell me you picked the 6.
Yeah.
See, that's
I don't.
the beauty of not being or not having to say who you picked, because now you can just pick somebody.
Right? I mean, I don't think it mattered. I don't think you could have jinxed him tonight.
I mean, we brought him up into the booth and he spun himself right in the wall on yellow, so
Yeah,
able
well,
to recover from that. And then on
we'll
that
blame
very
that on
next
him.
restart, he downshifted again and spun himself into the inside wall after doing that. So,
Well, maybe we should just stop bringing people in the booth with us.
but yeah, hopefully these guys don't wreck the leader. I see a few guys wrecking in the back, but we'll get the top 3 up into the booth and do the final interviews. Appreciate everybody out there been watching all night. It's getting actually a little too dark on screen. I can barely see.
It just went total dark.
Well, on stream, I can still see the 6 car doing his burnouts on the front stretch. So,
Yep. I mean, he's on the wall, but he's doing them.
but yeah, we'll be right back. Bring the top 3 in the booth and get their final interviews done for the night. So we'll be right back after we can get everybody up here. All right, we are back in the booth here in the Burnout Lane, KS Gaming Broadcasting. Top 3 are going to be coming up to the booth. Santiago in the 90, finishing out P3 tonight. Santiago, you got a copy?
I got you guys. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right after that race. You guys are surviving after this one. Looks like you wound up finishing P3. Started the race 24th, so up a lot of positions before the end of this race. Able to make it through a lot of the cautions. I'm not sure. I think one of your car might have been one of the cars without a front bumper at the end of this race. So, how did you survive, and what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's chaos. These cars, I mean, they can be tough. You just really got to be careful with them. I kind of got really tight off of turn 2 on lap 2 behind somebody, and I smacked the wall harder than I thought I would, and that actually gave me a meatball. Uh, so I had to use my fast repair pretty early on. I cannot believe I made it through this far. Lady luck works out for you sometimes.
Well, like I said, bringing it home P3 tonight. Trying to pull up the standings here. Looks like you are
I think it was
sitting
10 to 11.
P3 right now, tied with Dylan McDonald and Blake Henderson for P3 in the points at 118. Mark Parker is moving up into second place with 129 points, and then Dean Clavitt taking over the lead. Or actually, never mind. These points aren't corrected. So never mind.
No problem.
Yeah, something's wrong with those ones. Yeah, you guys use the offset key for the points, so yeah, I'll have to pull those up later. But yeah, so anyways, you made it through the race like you said on one fast repair, using it up early on when you had to get the meatball right off the bat. Able to make it through the rest of the race, missing the front bumper at the end of the race, but able to bring your home P3. Next week going to Vegas, what is your outlook at Vegas with these cars? Because from what I remember, these cars are not that easy at Vegas.
No, not at all. Got a little bit of experience in my Friday night league running these next gens. We ran Vegas. It's got the potential to be fun. I trust Blake and the guys who run this. They're gonna get this cleaned up. I get the frustrations. I run my own next gen league, and it's tough. So until then, I'm just gonna keep fighting and digging. I've had a oddly good start to the season so far, so I guess I can't complain too much.
Well, definitely a good finish for you. Steven, any questions for Santiago here?
Well, no, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Big talker, Steven is.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah,
Hey,
Santiago,
that's
good
all.
job on the P3 here. Any shout outs for you? I know a lot of you guys got sponsors or people watching. There's a lot of people out there in the chat, so any shout outs for you?
Absolutely. First, I'll give a shout out to you guys. I do broadcasting myself. I know that this is probably one of the tougher ones you guys have done, so I appreciate you guys sticking it out. Aside from that, all the guys at Deep, congrats to Pendo on the win. Well deserved after last week. All these guys helped me a ton here. Everyone from Kevin, Al, Greg, and Chris. I know we have a ton of sponsors at Deep. I haven't actually finished the top 3 since joining, so I don't know any of our sponsors, so I'm sorry. And then Greg, great looking car, throwback to Junie Dunleavy's team. I felt like a good time to bring a throwback would be to an old track like Rockingham. Really, and everybody else who puts this together. I mean, it's always fun when you can come home third.
Yeah, P3 ain't too bad, especially with I believe 21 incident cautions. So still bringing it home P3. That's definitely a feat and survival mode, especially with you using up that fast repair early on in the race and having 200 laps to go tonight and bringing home P3. So great job on that, and we'll see what happens next week at Vegas.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and thank you again.
Yep, thank you. All right, we'll get Mark Parkhurst up here, who finished second. All right, looks like Mark is now up in the booth. Steven, go ahead and take away second place. Mark Parkhurst.
Mark, you got a copy.
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right. So, pretty long race. Got a lot of cautions. You were able to make your way up and finish in second place. Definitely had some incidents. The first couple stages were caution filled, but you were able to make your way through them. Just walk me through your race, exactly what you saw, what you felt on the track, and I mean, was there anything that you could have changed to try and catch Chris up there in the lead?
If we'd had a long, not not even a long run, a run at all at the end there. I think I had something for him because I had much fresher tires than him, and I was keeping up with him, running him down. On that last restart we did, I got almost right up to his back bumper. I thought I had something for him, but is what it is.
Yeah, he was definitely just in a class of his own tonight. I mean, fresh tires, old tires. Especially just off the restarts, he was just able to pull away from everybody, and it just seemed like he was just in a class of his own. I mean, I I don't even know really what to say. I mean, I was really hoping that the last 25, 30 laps it was going to be able to go green. We were able to get to see some good battles for the lead and everything, but sucks it had to end under caution. But I mean, is there anything else? Like, do you got any sponsors you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out? Anything like that?
Oh yeah, I gotta shout out Goose Graphics, sponsor my car. Uh, they made my paint scheme up, and John Gutekunst, who's one of my teammates, is in charge of that. And big props to him. He makes some great schemes. Go check him out. And I gotta thank all my other 1776 teammates, Dylan, Dean, Guy. We all had fun when we were racing tonight. The pacing wasn't as much fun, but still
Definitely.
good once we actually went green.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was after stage 2. You guys had a good like 55, 60 lap green flag run. I mean, how much was the tires falling off and everything? Like, walk me through that.
Oh, I was trying to preserve my tires pretty much at all times, just in case we got to run. There were some people that were just being stupid aggressive, going in there just burning their stuff off. I was just trying to run pace, take it easy, and my car actually didn't push too bad, and I didn't think I was burning up the tires too much. Because at the end of the run, I was starting to run people down. So I think I did a great job managing my tires tonight. Just needed a few more green flag runs to get up to the lead.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, congratulations on P2. Kurt, you got anything you need to add?
No, I mean, we talked to you during the race and trying to figure out how you were going to get to the front, and you were right there at the front row, and then had an incident, went to the back, and made your way back up to the front row. So, congrats on the P2, bud.
Thanks. That was a long race. I'm gonna go to bed now.
Well, congrats on P3, and we'll bring up the winner tonight, Chris Pendell.
All right. Congrats to Chris. He did a great job tonight.
All right, Chris, you got a copy, buddy.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, we talked to you mid-race. You had a little issue there under caution and downshifted and spun yourself into the wall. Were able to make it back up to the front row before the restart, and then had another issue on the restart and spun yourself down to the inside wall, ripped the whole front bumper off, but you were able to stay on the lead lap before the end of the second stage came out. Got your fast repair done, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you just came running through the field right back up to the front and kind of never looked back after that. Every restart, you got a great jump on the rest of the field and just separated yourself away from all the madness that was happening behind you. I mean, give us just a rundown through the race and what happened there on that restart that you spun down on the inside wall, and then coming to the finish here.
Yeah, I got a little trigger happy on that restart there. I mean, it was going. Honestly, I think it was going to be me and Alistair there fighting for that win for the stage, because me and him was like right there. But I just made a mistake again, and I told you guys I wasn't going to make a mistake, but I made another mistake. You know, just not thinking. But I was able to come back. Luckily for me, I was able to stay on that lead lap and get the car fixed, and I was able to get out front when I don't have to worry about getting any damage and keep it up front. And I wish there was more green flag laps. I feel bad for you guys having to broadcast that, and especially to the to the sponsors that's broadcasting. I'm sure I speak for Blake and everybody here that we apologize. That's not how we should be racing, but it's I'll take a win. I love Rockingham. It took me about, probably the end of this first stage to figure out how to run this track. And once I figured it out, when we had green flag laps, I'm sorry, I was able to put it to my advantage and hold those guys off. And unfortunately, it ended under dark. I really wanted to race there for the win because I had some people on some fresh tires behind me, so I really wanted to see how the car held up. But nevertheless, I'll take a win, and hopefully next week's a lot better racing in Vegas.
Well, like we said, you definitely overcame a lot tonight. Two
Yeah.
really mistakes on your own end. But I mean, you didn't get really involved in any other incidents that happened on track because you were out front most of this race. You led a lot of laps tonight. You led 135 out of the 200. I mean, it was an insane amount of laps. Matt Boone was right there with you, leading 25 laps. Was up front most of the race with you. Unfortunately, he got collected in somebody else's issues as well, as he was sitting back there in third or fourth when he got pinned against the wall, and got taken out of the race with Dylan McDonald as well. But I mean, like Steven and I both were saying, I mean, it almost looked like you were in a class by yourself on these restarts. You would just take off and go, a half second or more away from everybody. But I mean, that was probably a blessing for you for sure, being away from all of the other cars that were having issues and guys probably overdriving a little bit too. But I mean, you were on a mission. You were the number one driver to watch tonight out of the top four drivers before the race to watch. We said, you had won 2 races earlier in the week or last week in different leagues, and then you came in tonight with a mission to win Rockingham. It was your favorite track, and you are going home with the victory tonight in the EPI 200, brought to you by Elite Performance Industries. So great job on your part. Definitely very, very fast tonight.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully the racing gets better. It's not been. Don't get me wrong, winning's fun, but it's not fun to win this way. Under caution laps. I'd rather be out front racing, win for battling guys for the win, and hopefully it gets cleaned up a little bit. And thanks for broadcasting, guys. I'm sure everybody appreciates it, and we'll see y'all at Vegas.
Yeah. Any last shout outs for you, bud?
Yeah, obviously, I want to thanks to Blake. Thanks for letting me race, man. I appreciate it. Thank you to my teammates over at Deep Racing. I've been with those guys for about 2 years now, and thank you to our sponsors, Circle B Diecast, Blackwater Suds, Old Timer Hat Company, Grounds and Hounds Coffee. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks to the wife. I love her to death. She lets me spend the money to do this every week, and just thanks to everybody who supports us and supports me, and can't wait to race next week.
All right. Well, we will catch you at Las Vegas next week. You've been really fast tonight, so we'll see what you can do at Las Vegas. But yeah, I want to appreciate everybody out there in the chat. A lot of viewers tonight, a lot of comments out there. Anybody who's still out there who's watching, try to tell you guys throughout the chat, try to keep it positive. Don't need the negative comments or anything in the chat. But I mean, yeah, it was. I love being up here in the booth, Steven. It was a pleasure having you in the booth again, 2 weeks in a row. Like I said, you're welcome anytime, every week. If you're not busy or anything like that, you're always welcome up here. It was great having you in here and being able to talk to you and get some insight and different perspectives and things like that. So loved having you up here. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate you guys out there on the track and the league in a whole. So really appreciate everybody, and we'll be seeing you next week at Vegas. So gonna end it here and run the last commercial and catch you guys next week. Appreciate it.